I always wanted to serve on a jury.
I'm really super excited to be here, so I really appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Creating this whole trial daddy.
I want to give a big shout out to the 13th Jury Podcast and Brandi.
Yeah, I applaud you guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Every time we run into Phil Barber, you should reach for it.
And then I just looked to the jury, and it's sort of like, look.
I was in the eye of the storm, and you guys were watching the storm.
Hey, before the work, come pop in and say, hey, what's up?
You are a ray of sunshine, and I love what you've done with your YouTube channel.
Say hello. Say hello to your friends. Say good morning. Good morning. You're not having it? Not in the mood? Say hi to your friends. They're here to see you. She is not happy that we had to get out of bed. Not happy. She rolled over this morning and scratched my eye. See how red my eye is? So she rolled over this morning and scratched my eye. And I scared her because I jumped and yelled. And so since then she's been very lovey and she did not want to get out of bed. Poor baby did not want to get out of bed. But we are here. And she will not lay in her bed right now. She is only laying or sitting on my desk staring at me. Like the little stalker that she is. So that's all right. Good morning. Happy Sunday. My eye will stop watering eventually. She scratched it. What? It's okay. You didn't mean it. You're just ferocious. Ferocious. Poor little baby. She's staring at me. And every time I put my hand down, she goes to grab it and nod and make me go back up again. Poor little baby. I know she feels bad. She's all right. Good morning. I am happy to see y'all. We have the rest of day 20 to get through today, and then Super Bowl is tonight. Lucy's not happy about it. She could care less. She's only, all she really cares about is snuggle time. Snuggle time and walk time. She loves walk time. But that's okay. She's good. I am actually glad that we ended things the way that we did yesterday. I thought it was a really cool way to end our Saturday with a car chase instead of I was about to say rash bomb. It's not rash bomb. Shoehorn. All the defense attorneys that drive us nuts are all the same, right? Hello, Valhalla awaits. Hello. Welcome in, everyone. I know. Kathy Davidson. I said the WALK word, and immediately she did her head like this. So I got to be careful about that. But she went on. We went on one early this morning, so she should be fine. She's just staring at me because I scared her when I yelled when she scratched my eye. Oh my gosh! Every once in a while, my phone will just turn on with my it'll start playing my stream, and then I hear my voice, and it scares me. Aliens. All right. So Sunday streaming. Are we ready? I have left this exactly where we left it yesterday. So I keep waving my hand, and Lucy's she's very needy this morning. I left it off right where we left it yesterday. So we're going to pick back up. Oh, goodness, that was a big yawn. We're going to pick back up right where it left off. We're an hour into the day. So we've got just the rest of day 20. And remember, there's no court tomorrow. I am going to try to do I'm going to try to stream on Tuesday. It kind of depends on how it goes. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I should be able to. So, it's funny you say that. I did not do my face. I did that lash lift thing, so it always just looks like I have mascara on, and then I have Vaseline on my lips, because my chapstick ran out. But good enough. Good enough. Makes the constant rain better. Is it raining where you are? Oh. Morning, Cajun. Morning. Hello. I'm sorry I missed saying hi to everybody. I can only see with one eyeball because of my ferocious dog, so forgive me. Let's get started.
I've read a few scientific papers about it.
So you know that there's a
Data to confirm that. I didn't think it would be something that was relevant, so I don't recall it off the top of my head.
You also are aware, you know something about geolocation data, correct?
Yes, I read, being that I testify about it on occasion, I've read a few scientific papers about it. Yeah.
So you know that there's somewhere between a 10 and a 15% accuracy differentiation for the location, the pinpoint location, right?
From satellites?
Well,
yes.
I don't want to say 10 or 15%. Court does not know whether he meant percent or feet.
Oh, okay. Well, the pinpoint can be off up to, well, I can't do the math myself, so I'll just say that there is an accuracy rate of 85%, correct?
I'm not familiar with any study that reports that. If you could refer me to it, I would look into it. That sounds high to me.
Well, in any event, you said that the range, even within a, you're dealing.
I don't remember Mark. Hold on. Mark Newth. Hold on the stand. Mark Newth. He's the digital forensics dude. Okay. There we go. Pin message.
Dealing with longitude and latitude, correct?
Correct.
And there's anywhere from, I think you said 16 to maybe 20 feet mobility area for that?
I said 16.
Exactly 16 feet?
I once read a paper that reported accuracy within 16 feet from satellite data.
But 16 feet is a circumference, correct?
Correct.
A circle.
16-foot radius.
A radius, well.
Or a 16-foot circumference.
Circumference, right. So the reason I ask that is I look at one of these. For example, on page, well, these pages aren't numbered, so I'll just refer you to the fact that at the top it says 5:03 to 5:05, and then it says, do you see that 5:38 to 6 p.m.? Do you see that there? Mm-hmm. For the record, I'm going to have to ask you to say yes or no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I see.
Okay. And if we look at this particular image, if this is Jefferson Crossing as it's identified, it shows a red dot here as being the location at the.
Now, if y'all weren't with us yesterday, where we left off is Shoehorn blabbing on about the digital forensics from the GPS, from the infotainment centers for the Suburban that Michelle not Michelle, the Suburban that Jennifer had, and for the Raptor. The GPS data points are, he said, usually the range is pretty tight. He said sometimes it can be about 16 feet, but it's pretty tight. He said that he's been able to tell, exactly what parking spot a car is in based on the GPS data points. So, of course, I almost said rash bomb again. That's the way that he's kind of behaving. So, but the way that that Shoehorn is arguing it, he's kind of trying to make it as though it can't be relied on or questioning it or whatever. So that's kind of where we left off at. And Ann, thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
Time of 5:38 to 6 p.m., correct?
That's correct.
On that date. If I look at the next page, rather the last page, second last page, you recognize this is still the same structure, the same house on Jefferson Crossing, right?
Yes, I believe it is, yes.
Right, and it shows that there's some kind of movement from spot.
Yes, I remember this one because I animated this track log. It went from the green dot to the red dot.
Yeah, but you do know that, are you familiar, did you ever look at a satellite image of this property?
I have not.
Because would this not, if I were to tell you this is all lawn on this side of the house there, is it suggesting that this vehicle drove onto the lawn to the side of the house?
I would say yes. Probably, yeah.
All right, if it was 16 to 16 feet between there and, let's say, the corner of the house, might it just be that much inaccurate?
You know, I don't believe so. Like I said, in my experience, and I've done a lot of these cases, and I've seen a lot of these GPS dots from this Burl Ivy software substantiated in video surveillance evidence. And in my experience, it's been spot on. You know, if you want to call an expert in here in terms of satellite GPS data and points that could contradict that, I mean, that's up to you. But in my experience, I have no reason to believe the data is ever that inaccurate.
So if this is lawn over here, you're testifying that this truck at 8:14 p.m. drove onto the lawn on the side of the house, correct?
Yes, I am. I believe that probably happened.
All right. While I'm on this page, I wanted to ask you, I'm going to turn this. You were asked questions about what these words mean and the track log data, and you indicated adjusted means that you adjusted the time from what would be UTC or Greenwich Mean Time, London time, to local time in Farmington, Connecticut, correct?
Correct.
And and what is the EST? Does that mean you estimated it?
No, that means Eastern Standard Time.
So what would that do to your calculation since this was in Eastern Daylight Time?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That it was in Eastern Daylight Time, so EST is a mistake. It should have been EDT.
So you wrote this. This isn't data that came off the machine.
No, that data came off the machine, but when I create the time change, it asks me to name it, and I mistakenly named it EST instead of EDT.
So it's not that the infotainment system has the wrong time, it's that you physically made an incorrect calculation is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying the calculation's incorrect. I'm saying that the S is a typo, it should be a D.
Oh, okay.
He tried.
Could you also, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions about the one of the other pages here, if I may, and I'm going to go to page 2. And you can see this from where you're seated, right? You don't need to look at the screen behind you, correct?
That's correct. I can see it on the monitor.
So you indicated that this report on page 2 indicated that at May 24th, 2019, at 7:55 a.m., this vehicle was that the Ford Raptor was at a house located at 27 Spring Lane, Simsbury, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And again, I just want to be clear. The report didn't mention that 27 Spring Lane is a house. This is something you wrote, right?
Yes, I wrote that. That's correct.
Okay. And then the next one right below it, you see, says 9:53 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It's at a house at 61 Sturbridge Hill Road. You see that?
Yes.
So was there any data between 7:55 a.m. and 9:53 a.m. that you were able to recover?
No, I was not able to recover any data within that time frame.
And when you say from 9:53 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., was the data constant? That means every 5 minutes or every minute you were able to...
No, I believe there were, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, but-
I believe there were 3 points of data in that time frame that had the vehicle in the same location.
Can you tell me what those times data were?
Yes.
Data times, excuse me.
They would be at the end of this document.
Okay.
Let's see, that started at what time? 9:50
9:53 a.m.
on 5/24.
Thank you, Lois Cox.
Just tell me what page it's on so I could follow along.
I'm on the second to last page,
Second to last page.
and I'm looking at the track log data at the bottom. And you can see that recovered item number 39 is the first one, and it shows a time range of 9:53 to 9:54. The second one is number 40, shows 12:21 to 12:22. And the third one shows a time frame of 12:30, 26 seconds to 12:30, 44 seconds. And those are the only 3 points of data from that Sturbridge Hill Road in New Canaan. Can you see that?
Yeah, I think that I was maybe on the wrong page when you did that. So let me just see if I understand. Are you referring to the left column or the right column for that, or both?
If you
If you show the jury, please.
So the first one is recovered number 39, 5/24/19, 9:53 to 9:54. That data point shows on the map as that Sturbridge Hill in New Canaan.
That's one data point.
One data point.
Okay.
Number 40 is the second data point.
Okay, the 9:53 to 9:54 or whatever. The first data point, is this for the... I can only see out of one eye right now. I'm not sure about what he's exactly arguing for. All of the points are the same ones that for the Raptor. They all matched up to show that to go along with Pavel's story. So I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to dispute.
It shows the same date, 12/21:53 p.m. to 12/22 p.m. Again, the exact same spot in Sturbridge Hill. Is it Sturbridge Hill Road?
Yes, okay.
And then the last one, right below that, number 41, 2019, 12/30/26 to 12/30/44. Some type of vehicle event happened that recorded that data spot. So I have 3 data spots recorded for that location on that day.
So do you have any way of knowing what happened between 9:54 a.m. and 12:21 p.m.?
I'm sorry, I do not have any way of knowing.
So
I don't want to say it because
right.
I'd be speculating, and that's not appropriate.
Okay, so when you say in your report 9:53 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., you cannot testify that the vehicle was there that entire time, can you?
I cannot say with certainty that it was.
Now, the other thing I'm going to ask you about is this green dot is also showing the vehicle.
That was his point, because when he testified, okay, I see what he's trying to argue now. When Nuth, is that his name, was testifying about the data points earlier, he said that from 9:53 to 12:30, the data points show that the Raptor was at that workhouse that Pavel was working at. So what he's saying is the data point, what Shoehorn is trying to argue is the data points were scattered during that time, but not necessarily showing that he was there the whole time. So he's trying to put doubt in the jury's mind again, like, oh, well, you can't say that he didn't leave, right? You can't guarantee that he was there the whole time. So that's what he's trying to argue. Because again, remember, he keeps trying to put this on poor Pavel.
Parked on in a lawn and not on a driveway, correct?
Thank you, Virginia.
Yeah, this is the map version. If I displayed this data in the satellite version so I could see more accurately, I can't see exactly where it's parked because there's a large tree canopy there that kind of covers it. But the driveway is the entire width of the house structure there. And it appears that the vehicle is parked just off the driveway surface in the satellite view.
And I'm just going to ask you, just hypothetically, if the person who said they were driving that vehicle indicated they was parked in the same spot on the driveway when they were down there, would that impact at all your estimate of whether or not that dot is off by as many as 15 or 16 feet?
I mean, in the satellite view, it shows it pretty close to the driveway surface, so it could be off by a few feet, but I don't think too many.
Right. But in terms of whether or not it's showing this vehicle parked behind the house, not on the driveway, you can't say that that's pinpoint accuracy.
I definitely cannot say it's pinpoint accuracy. Okay. That's true.
Well, this is probably the best time to take the morning recess.
Morning recess.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will stand in our morning recess.
I bet they are like so excited for morning recess.
Well, it's now opening back in session.
Like,
Good morning,
get away from him for a minute.
Just a moment first.
Yes.
Morning recess. Look, hold on. I think it's getting, hold on. Look. Can you see? I think it's getting worse. I mean, better. I didn't mean worse. Look. The scratch is like right here. It kind of looks like, I'm just going to get a pirate patch and be done with it. I gotta go to the store when we get done anyway. I'll get some Visine.
Wait, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No, Lucy accidentally scratched me when I rolled over.
So, Mr. Newth, so that I understand correctly, the infotainment system does not run 24/7 whether the car's running or not, correct?
Correct. It's an electronic device. It needs power in order to run, so there needs to be power to it.
So you either have to, in most cars, that means turn the engine on, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily to turn the engine fully on. You can turn the key so that it activates the battery and alternator, and it will power up the system. But
Now you're referring to older cars that actually have a key, right?
yeah, that's true.
All right, so newer cars, you either, push a button to
Push the-
activate the car, or you can, I guess, put on, but they used to call it an accessory to turn on the battery so you listen to the radio or
Correct.
something
Yes.
like that.
But there does have to be power to the system, which often means the engine needs to be started.
Right. And so when we're looking at the events and the times in your report, those are times when the engine had to be at least activated, if not turned on, correct?
Correct.
So according to your data and in your report, on May 24th, we're going back, 7:55 a.m. is when unless it was corrupted, that's the time that the car was turned on, or at least the power was given to the system, right?
Yeah, if I remember right, that was a gear shift vehicle event. I believe car was shifted into gear.
So you're able to even tell what the car is doing when the system goes on?
If a vehicle event is recorded, you're able to tell.
Oh, okay. So then the next time there was an event was at 9:53 a.m. at Sturbridge Hill Road, correct?
Correct.
You don't know what that event was?
I believe it was shifted to park.
Okay.
But you know what? I shouldn't say that. I would have to double check the data because I didn't save that.
You don't have
But
that with you, do you?
I don't think I have that with me. I would have to double check that for you. My recollection when I read this and put it together is that was a vehicle shift to park.
Okay.
But I would have to confirm that to be completely certain.
All right. If I'm to look at your last 2 pages of your report that has the, what I'll call the less visual data, right? The other times that you mentioned in the morning would require at that time at, let's say 9:53 a.m. you said was a shift to park.
I believe it was, yeah, that was the arrival. I believe it was.
And then the car was engaged, or at least the power went on at 12:21
Oh my
and
gosh.
59 seconds, right?
Let's go over all the same stuff again.
Yes, something occurred at that time. I'm not sure what, but something occurred for the vehicle to record a data point.
Okay. When you say something, it means the power got turned on, right?
Yes, it could mean that.
Well, it couldn't happen while the car is off and somebody's out of the car, could it?
Yes, if there's no activity around the vehicle and the vehicle's powered down, it won't record a data point.
And of course, you checked to see if there were any recorded activities from, I think, 12:33 to the next one you indicated was at 4:21. This is Interstate 84, is it not here, the curve?
Yes,
In Plainville, heading near Farmington, correct?
correct. And there, to answer your question, no data points were recovered between those two timeframes.
I see, but this one shows a red dot and a green dot traveling. Can you tell from your map which direction the vehicle's going or no?
I believe that the vehicle is going, if I recall, from the green dot in the lower part of the picture to the red dot in the upper corner of the picture. I could certainly double check that for you. Simply, when I open the extraction, if I put the cursor on one dot, it'll show me the timestamp for that dot, and then put it on the other dot, and it'll show me the timestamp. So obviously, it's going in the direction of the earlier timestamp to the later timestamp.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So let me just make sure I didn't have another question about the Ford Raptor.
Please no.
So let me now talk to you about the Chevy Suburban.
Okay?
You were asked a bunch of questions just now about the report as it applied to the 2017 Chevrolet Suburban, correct?
That's correct.
And you showed us some information that was obtained and downloaded by you.
That's correct.
You didn't prepare a map-like report like we just saw for the Ford Raptor, correct?
Yes, that's because I didn't get any GPS data from the dates of interest, the 23rd and 24th of May, 2019.
At all?
At all.
And you don't know, or do you know whether or not just the GPS had been either by an auto place like Chevrolet or by the customer had been shut off so they could not be tracked where they were going?
I do not know the answer to that, and I'm not sure if that specific system records a lot of GPS data.
Oh, okay.
He already said that.
Now,
He already said that he doesn't know if.
in
if you
addition
know
to
if
the
listeners.
report that was just introduced as State's Exhibit 130, you had, in 2019, prepared another report, didn't you, regarding the Chevy Suburban?
I prepared a report with several attachments to it relating to this extraction, yes.
And in fact, you sent that directly to a state police detective named Kimball, didn't you?
Probably. I can remember emailing one of the state police detectives about this.
If I showed you your email, might that refresh your recollection?
I'm sure it would, yeah.
Showing you Exhibit N for identification. N is in Nancy. Is that your email?
Oh, yes. This is my email dated 5/30/2019 to Detective John Kimball.
So you wrote this email on May 30th, 2019.
Yes, I did.
Had you already reviewed the Chevy Suburban material as of that date?
Yes, I did. What was going on at this time is this was an active investigation, and it was considered very high priority. And the detectives wanted to know right away if any data was recovered from the 23rd or 24th so that they could utilize that data in their investigation. So when I found some data from the 24th in this extraction, I let Detective Kimball know about it.
And they specifically did want to know about the movements or the tracking of Jennifer Dulos' cell phone, correct?
No, I did not have Jennifer Dulos' cell phone. I did not examine that. I only examined her vehicle.
You were asked to determine if there were any cell phones that had paired to the vehicle, though, correct?
Well, not specifically. I was asked to provide any data recorded by the vehicle that occurred within that date range.
And you did that, right?
Yes, I did.
And you prepared a report to give to Detective Kimball, correct?
Yes, I did.
He just seems like he would ruin every party he goes to. I'm sure he's lovely. He's just doing his job.
Can I just mark this? I'm going to see.
So he's going to bring up that phone that paired with the Jennifer Suburban at 2:56 p.m. at the park. Or we assume it's at the park because that's where the car was.
He didn't create this. It was created by him. Well, I'll ask you. Can I have a copy? Yeah. Please do.
Showing you what has been marked as Exhibit CC for identification is the summary report, what you gave to Detective Kimball in response or in attention to that PDF that you mentioned was connected to your email.
Yes, this is related to the device connection that was identified as occurring on 5/24/2019.
Okay. And my question is that, what was the PDF that came with Exhibit N? Right.
Yes, I believe these are, the email is related to this piece of data.
I would offer both N and CC as full.
Oh, I have no objection, Your Honor. I would just ask counsel to get me a copy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Defense N and Defense CC admitted as full.
I mean, they still haven't shown anything that shows that Michelle knew what was going on.
Just for the jury's edification, I'm just going to show them, this is Exhibit N, and it's a
We still got a long
photocopy,
way
but
to
this
go,
is
so
the
we'll see.
email you sent to Detective Kimball with one attachment on May 30th, 2019 at, I can't tell if it's 3:23 or 5:23, but
It's 5:23 p.m., it looks like.
yeah, but it was that date.
Or it could be 3:23, you're right. It's kind of, but it was definitely that date.
Okay. And the attachment was something called Case Details Search After 5/23/2019, correct?
Yes. Let me explain if you like.
Sure, but let me first identify this as Exhibit
Oh, sure.
CC, correct?
Yes, CC.
All right. So would you explain the purpose of preparing this document?
Yeah, this is an excerpt, I think, from an overall PDF. When I do a Burla data extraction, Burla has a tool where you can create a PDF case report right away. And it's that enormous PDF that the state's attorney was asking me about earlier, that's so many, over 1,000 pages, but it contains all the data that's extracted from the vehicle. And as part of our policy, once I complete the extraction, I usually will email that PDF report to whoever the investigating officer is so that they have that data immediately. Because a lot of times these are done during active investigations, and they're looking for this information to find leads to follow in their investigation. So immediately when the extraction's done, I create the PDF, I email it out.
And so you're talking about there's a 1,000-page report, right?
It could be that big, yes.
And
I don't know the number of pages of this report, but I'm sure it's quite large.
And it's all data. It's a lot of it's raw data, correct?
Well, it's data that's interpreted into plain English by the software, but it is the raw data as having not been gone through or by investigative eyes.
Well, just like the map report that we just saw that you prepared for the state,
Yes.
this is a summary of some of the data in that 1,000 pages.
Correct. It's a
Okay.
summary of some of that data.
All right, so I'm just going to go through it with you. So
Sure.
up at the top, it mentions the year and model and the VIN number of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, correct.
Were you made aware during your conversations, you said it was a high priority case, correct?
Yes, it was.
So you knew that it had to do with the disappearance of a woman by the name of Jennifer Dulos that the police were investigating, right?
I was aware of that, yes.
Okay. And you were also aware that this was her vehicle, correct?
Yes. Obviously, the evidence can't be submitted to me without a search warrant. And before I do my examination, I always read the search warrant, which gives me a lot of information about the case, but it helps me know what type of data I'm looking for.
Obviously. Okay. So I'm just going to ask you, there's a section here, and I'm going to zoom out a little just so that it all fits on one page. And I'll move it down, but would you indicate for the jury what the call logs here show?
Yeah, call logs are basically, they come from the cell phone. When the cell phone is connected to the system via Bluetooth, the system immediately downloads, like I had testified to earlier, immediately downloads data from your cell phone relating to phone calls, including contacts and phone call history. So the call logs are phone call history downloaded by the infotainment system from the cell phone when it's connected.
And are these times local time or UTC time that are included in your report?
Well, if you look at the second column, it says timestamp, type, and it says local. So this device displayed the time in local time, not in UTC.
The next column talks about call type, outgoing versus missed, correct?
Correct.
And then the next is phone numbers.
Yes.
Right? And then the next column are contact names. Where would those names have come from? Well, let me ask it a different way. Are these the names that the holder of this phone, that is the owner of this particular phone, would have punched into their phone as an identification to if they were known recipients or senders, or does the system itself create that?
Those names come from the contact list in the phone. Most everybody has a cell phone, right? You have a list of contacts, and you can go to the contact you want to call and push it in. The contact list is downloaded along with the cell phone data when the connection is made. And the system, when a phone call is made, if it recognizes that number as one of your contacts, it's going to display that contact name along with that call. So when you see those names on there, Gloria Farber, Dwayne Lavold, those are from the contact list in that phone.
Now, you did not have the phone in question here, did you?
I did not.
So the device identifier, is this what you testified to on direct, would be the Bluetooth identifier, or would that be the serial number of the phone itself? The MAC number, I think you referred to.
It's the Bluetooth MAC address is what Burla tends to use as their device identifier. And the reason, I shouldn't speak for Burla, but I believe the reason they use that is all these connections are made via Bluetooth, so it's a unique piece of data that's readily available in the extraction.
Is it called MAC because it's an Apple
No.
device, just MAC, or what is it?
Just MAC.
And do we know what that stands for? Do you know what that stands for?
I'd have to look it up. I don't recall.
Right. But it's an abbreviation for something.
Yes, it's similar to an IP address. It's a unique address for each device in order to make a connection through Bluetooth.
Would you have made a determination that this device identifier was connected to the, or came back to the device registered to Jennifer Dulos?
I don't know who this device is registered to. I know the date and time it was first paired to this device, and I know that the last date and time it was paired to this device. It's a device that was just called iPhone. So I don't have any ownership authentication to it within this data extraction.
Right. but just in looking at the contact names, there was a Dr. Roy Geronimus who was called at 7:54 a.m. outgoing from this device while paired to this Chevrolet, correct?
Well, it's correct that there was an outgoing call made from that cell phone to a Dr. Roy Geronimus at 7:41 a.m. There's no data here to tell me whether or not that phone call occurred from within the vehicle. Some systems record that, phone call made within vehicle. This system does not. That phone call could have been made outside the vehicle, and then when the device connected, it downloaded phone call history, and so the data's in there. But it doesn't tell me whether or not it was made from the car or from outside the car. I don't know.
Well, and the next call is, I guess these are in the next call earlier, rather, the evening before, May 23rd, was to somebody named Caroline Luft. You see that?
I do.
And then there was you mentioned the other two people, one being Gloria Farber and one being Dwayne Lavole, correct?
Correct.
So if one were to go through the phone records of an individual, determine whether these calls in fact were occurred, one could match up that phone, so-called iPhone, to the particular device if there were phone records to do that, right?
Objection. Cause for speculation and outside the scope about phone records.
Well, this witness has not testified concerning phone records, or basically those records generated by the phone company. So the question is, would the information contained on the call logs also show up on phone records generated by the company? That's the question, correct?
Yeah.
Overruled.
I think you answered yes.
Yes, I believe it would.
Okay. Now, the next column here, you have a box here called events. Are these the times that, when you say that the device paired to the specific Chevrolet Suburban on May 24th, 2019, according to this report?
Yeah, if you look at the bottom one on this report, the date on the left shows 5/24/2019, 2:56:32 p.m. That's local time. The event is identified as a device, and the action is identified as a device connection. So it's reporting a device connection of the unique identifier with that Bluetooth MAC address, 5C09, et cetera, was connected at that time.
And I know if you go to the event identifier, this MAC number that you identified that begins 5C0, et cetera, you see that?
That number is unique to each individual cell phone.
Is that the same identifier as shown under the call logs in the previous box on that same page?
5C09, C1A4. Yes, it is.
So can we conclude from this events box that the specific device, the one that either missed or sent phone calls in call logs box, connected to the Chevrolet Suburban at 2:56 and 32 seconds p.m. on May 24th, 2019?
Yes, that's correct.
I see you. Welcome.
I realize, Your Honor, there are 3 copies of the same document. I did make copies after when I stapled them, so I can give a copy to counsel if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it just one page?
Yeah.
You want to take the other one off?
Yeah.
He is on it, doggone it. He is so. Well, first of all, he's so patient. But
Now,
he
if a
is
vehicle
always
has been paired with
paying attention.
well, which way does it go? Does the phone pair with the vehicle through Bluetooth, or does the Bluetooth in the vehicle pair with the phone? Which way does that work?
Both. I mean, the two devices have to be set into pairing mode together and be within range of each other in order to pair them. So it's a very deliberate act.
So in other words, one has to, it's not just by accident. You can't be driving down the street and accidentally pair with a total stranger's vehicle's Bluetooth, correct?
Correct.
And the device MAC number that you testified to remains the same as long as you own that. It remains the same for that device, correct?
For that device.
If you get a new device, you have to pair it all over again because it'll be a different MAC number, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And each car has a different infotainment center system that has its own unique identifier as well, correct?
That's correct.
And once you've paired your device to a vehicle, will it stay there unless you erase it?
Yes, I believe it will. It doesn't, that list is pretty consistent. What it usually records is the initial date of the pairing and then the last date that it was connected at. Every time you connect it, it changes that last date of connection to the current date. So you don't know every time that it connected, you know the initial time and the last time.
Well, for example, if I were to pair to a rental car and then I forget to delete that, would my pairing remain there? So the next time I go to that rental company, will that pair again?
Yes, I believe it would.
So it would be, I mean, it's not really,
vehicle.
So just for our edification, so it'd be good to delete it on your own. You can actually delete the Bluetooth pairing from a vehicle if you want to, right?
Most of them allow that in the user interface, I believe.
Okay. And you did testify that as new data is entered in, older data is deleted, correct?
What I said was, if data is marked as deleted by the system, as new data is recorded, that deleted data may become overwritten and then it's no longer accessible to us.
Well, for example, were you able to retrieve?
Okay, I want to stop for a second because he's saying that the thing he said a minute ago about how both have to be in pairing mode, I don't know about y'all. My car is always in pairing mode. So you have to have your phone or whatever else in pairing mode for it to pick up on it. But my car, I don't ever have to put my car in pairing mode. It's always in pairing mode. So if it was somebody's, if whoever's iPhone connected to it, it was one that had never been connected to it before, but whoever's iPhone connected to it, it doesn't necessarily, and mine's a Jeep, hers is a Suburban, so I don't know the difference in the infotainment centers, but I do know that mine, I don't have to put my car in pairing mode. It's always in pairing mode.
Retrieve any earlier phone calls that aren't in this report from the infotainment center, from the Bluetooth connection to that device?
I believe there's a lot of phone calls in the full report of this extraction, but they don't relate to the time frame of interest.
That was what I was going to. So you were asked in this report by the detective to only limit it to the May 23rd to May 24th period, correct?
Yeah, for their investigation at the time, they were interested in anything that occurred around the time of Mrs. Dulos' disappearance.
Now, you were asked some questions about Bluetooth distance. Do you remember those questions?
I do.
Does it matter whether a window or door to a vehicle is open or closed, what the distance is going to be to the from the device to the vehicle itself?
In my experience, no. It'll go through a closed door or window.
And the range you said is what? How far away can you be before?
I don't have a scientific answer to this. I mean, I have a personal analogy.
What's your analogy?
One time I was in the tire shop getting new tires, and my wife called me, and I'm sitting in a waiting room talking to my wife, and the mechanic comes in and says, hey, we can hear your call on the phone's radio. And that, I had to be a good 50 feet away from where the car was to be being worked on. So it's a pretty good range.
50 feet?
Yeah, I bet I was.
And was there a wall or glass between you as well?
A wall with a closed door, yes.
Okay. How long does the vehicle store the Bluetooth data?
In terms of the connected devices, I don't believe that gets marked for deletion unless someone manually goes in and deletes it.
So it can go back maybe years?
I believe so, yeah. In fact, I'm sure I've seen connected devices going back a few years, yeah.
Is that one of the reasons the report is 1,000 pages here?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of data in these things. And, I mean, most of it isn't relevant to your investigation, but it's there and it's recovered, so.
And just like I asked you about the Ford, does the vehicle have to be turned on, or at least the power turned on, in order for the Bluetooth system to work with that vehicle?
Yes, it does. It's an electronic device. Without power, it can't do anything.
The phone itself, however, connects to let me re-ask this question. I want to understand this part. Is the phone receiving and sending phone calls through the car system? In other words, is the car connecting to a cell tower, or is it the phone itself?
Well, the car is capable of connecting to a cell tower if it has cellular service. You would have to buy cellular service for the car, though. I mean, it's the cell phone primarily that's connecting. The cell phone is connected to the cellular network and to the infotainment system through Bluetooth. But the actual connection is being made in the cell phone.
So when it comes to, were you able to tell whether in this particular case and in this report that the Bluetooth connection was more just as like a wireless speakers? In other words, it was a hands-free availability that would connect so you could hear things like you just explained.
Correct. That's exactly what it is. It's for the purpose of hands-free driving. But the phone is what's doing making the actual connection to the outside phone.
But other than that, the cell phone itself would have to connect to cell tower service, correct?
Yes.
Did this vehicle, when you examined it, have a hotspot or an internal cellular ability so that you could make calls from the car rather than use your own cell data?
I do not believe it did, no.
Okay.
A cell phone would have had to have been present to make a call.
Can I just have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
No.
Material to Detective Kimball. One final question. After you sent this material to Detective Kimball, did you speak to him to help explain any of this data to him?
I can't recall speaking. I mean, I can't say for sure that I didn't. It was 5 years ago, but I don't recall having that conversation with you.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Just briefly, if I can. Sir, just a couple more questions. Thank
Sure.
you. Just a couple questions on the on Bluetooth and the capabilities. Attorney Shohorn asked you a couple questions about the location and whether the door had to be open. Do you recall that line of questions?
I do.
All right. And you told the story about at the car wash?
The tire shop.
The tire shop. There you go, tire shop. And there was a wall between you and the car?
Yes. I was in a waiting room. The car was in the garage getting new tires put on it.
What about if there were trees in between a phone device and a vehicle that was running? Would the phone be able to connect to the Bluetooth of the car?
I mean, it's not like I've done any scientific studies on it, but in my personal experience, I would say the trees would not affect it.
Bushes?
Probably not.
Okay. People walking?
No.
Okay. If the phone was just around and in an area close to the...
If it's within a close enough distance to the system, and both the phone and the system are powered on, it's going to connect.
Okay. And counsel asked you about deleting the pairing of the phone off of the vehicle. Do you recall that line of questioning?
I do, yeah.
And is that something a person can manually do?
Yeah. I think I've done that before on some of my old cars. You can go in and you can cancel your pairing and then repair it if you want to, or...
Can you also cancel the location services of the infotainment center?
I'm not aware of... I don't know how to answer that. I'm not aware of any way that you can do that, but without researching it, I can't say with certainty.
And a couple of questions, if you can. If I may just approach the clerk, Your Honor. It's 129. Sir, briefly, Attorney Shohorn asked you about the movement of the vehicle, particularly Sturbridge Hill.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. And you indicated there were 3 data points that you found during that time period, 9:53 and 12:30, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, with respect to those 3 data points, did the vehicle move from that spot at those 3 specific times?
It did not appear to. Those 3 specific data points are right on top of each other. I mean, there's no separation in those circles. So if the vehicle moved at that time, it was parked again in the exact same location. I mean, quite precisely.
Okay. And if you look at page 1 of that report, you actually have the vehicle moving at Jefferson Crossing in a very small spot. Is
Yes.
that correct? So that would be the show of a movement from a vehicle from one place to another.
Correct.
And with respect to Sturbridge Hill, though, the spots remain in the exact same spot?
Correct.
And
That's just
this-
one single data point.
One day. And
So this is going back to where Shoehorn was trying to say that that time period between 9:53 and 12:30, when the Raptor is showing it was at that house that Pavel was working at, and he was like, well, it's 3 different points, but you don't know that it was there the whole time. She's pointing out, okay, it's not showing consistent data points, but all 3 data points during that time are all in the exact same spot, like the exact same coordinates.
This road here, up and down, you titled that Sturbridge Hill Road. Is that the main road? And then is this, and my next question would just follow up, and then does that make this the driveway?
Yes, Sturbridge Hill is the road, and that line there that leads to the house is the driveway.
And the dot behind the house would be the vehicle?
Correct.
Oh, one last question, actually, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see if I could clarify on that same state's 129. You indicated on cross-examination, the EST was just a typo. It's supposed to be EDT, is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree. I should have wrote EDT because it is summertime, so it would be Eastern Daylight Time.
But the times that in the date reflected?
The time reflects a -4 hour correction, which is accurate for summertime or daylight time.
It's just a typo, the times are not inaccurate?
The times are accurate, the EST is my stupid mistake.
I want to call it that. Thank you, sir. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
I just want to clarify on what you were just shown on Exhibit 129. If you look at that, there were three, I guess we call them event times listed at the top: 4:52, 5:05, oh, 4:52, 5:05, 5:09, and 5:10. Is that right?
Yes.
This diagram isn't showing that between those times the vehicle only moved. Like this blue line is not showing that it moved from the red dot to the green dot or the green dot to the red dot, does it?
Yeah, usually the blue line indicates the motion of the vehicle.
And it took, according to this, maybe 18 minutes to move, 6 feet, 10 feet?
Yeah, I mean, not all of the data is present, so we don't know exactly when it moved between those 2 points of data.
So, because I wanted to ask, there's been testimony in this case that this vehicle went to other addresses in Avon and Farmington during this very time that's indicated here. Do you have any data that shows that it was at another location?
All the data that I recovered is present in this document, so, and data that occurred at times that I did not recover from, I can't testify to, I don't know.
So, I'm going to ask you, is it possible that what this is showing is that this vehicle started up at this location, traveled elsewhere, came back to this location at Jefferson Crossing, and maybe was turned on a second time?
Wait a minute. Wasn't he just showing 523?
This vehicle.
I can't testify to, I don't.
This is, am I crazy? This is 523 that he's showing, not 524. So.
Location?
All the data that I recovered is present in this document. So, and data that occurred at times that I did not recover from, I can't testify to, I don't know.
So I'm going to ask you, is it possible that what this is showing is that this vehicle started up at this location, traveled elsewhere, came back to this location at Jefferson Crossing, and maybe was turned on a second time?
It's hard for me to answer that because you're asking me to testify about data that I did not recover. So I can't really do that. If I had those data points, I'd be happy to point it out to you, but I can only show you, I have these two data points. A blue line indicates usually that there's motion with Verla, but that's all I was able to recover.
So as far as you know, there's no data about this vehicle being at an address on Deer Cliff Road in Avon, correct? That you recovered?
Okay, but he didn't say that he went to Deer Cliff Road on the 23rd. That was on the 24th. So he's questioning him about this report from the 23rd and saying, oh, well, he didn't go to these places, but he's talking about the 24th.
Wasn't it driving along Deer Cliff in one of these points of
hope
data? I think
prosecution
that
picks
name
up on
Deer
that.
Cliff sounds familiar. I think it was.
That was on,
Go to the last data point of the day. Didn't it drive along Deer Cliff, or am I wrong? What's the last one on the second to last page?
oh, okay, yeah, it shows at.
Yeah, Deer Cliff Road, right.
8 o'clock at night, driving on Deer Cliff Road, right?
Yeah, 8 o'clock at night.
Right. What about at, on May 23rd?
don't think I recovered it on Deer Cliff Road on May 23rd.
And was there any, what about 80 Mountain Spring Road? Was there any data recovered that this vehicle traveled to 80 Mountain Spring Road on the 23rd?
I don't recall any of that, no.
I have no further questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay, but he didn't say he did on the 23rd.
The new
Am I-
may step down.
Am I crazy? Okay, Newth even said, he's like, oh, well, Deer Cliff Road sounds familiar. Go back and look on the very last page. Well, the very last page, now they're back to the 24th. So then Shoehorn is like, okay, well, what about on the 23rd? He's asking him about why the truck isn't showing up in these two places on the 23rd. That was never part of the testimony. His testimony was that he went to those places on the 24th. So he's making it sound like a gotcha moment when it's not. He's just wrong. Unless I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Spent a lot of time mapping that out.
Your Honor, the state would call Detective Mike Clark. Yes, please, thank you.
All right. Next up is detective.
If you could please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, last name Clark, C-L-A-R-K.
Thank you.
Sir, you may be seated.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
By whom are you employed by?
I'm employed by the Fairfield Police Department,
And in what capacity?
currently in the capacity of police detective.
How long have you been a Fairfield Police Detective?
I've been a Fairfield Police detective since 2016.
Are you assigned to a particular division or department within the Fairfield Police Department?
Yeah, so I am assigned to the Detective Bureau, and I currently work in that function doing cyber investigations. I manage
Okay,
our
we're gonna
for
skip
investigations.
through.
I also spent 2 years as the best level extraction, but generally it's not able to copy every bit of data off of that device.
Skip through all
Does
the.
the phone need to be connected to the
Don't need to know. We all know about airplane mode.
data and
Analyzing data.
Celebrate? All through the
We know Celebrate. We know these things.
With certain
I love speed trialing because we don't have to
After
listen to them
you
pictures,
explain all this
messages,
shit.
photo,
We know this. Let's get to the data.
utilize. Just show
point or location if the phone is.
Let's get to
From that-
it.
Let's do an iMessage. So physical analyzer is what we create the report with, and is what I use.
When did you receive that phone?
All right, here we
I
go.
received that phone on May 26, 2019.
Where were you?
I was in my workstation at the Fairfield Police Department.
What type of phone was it?
That was an iPhone XS.
Was it powered on?
It was powered on. It was locked. It had a lock screen, an active lock screen, and it was in airplane mode.
This is Fotis'
Did you
phone.
get a password?
I did.
And were you able to open it?
Yes, I was able to open it.
What acts, if any, did you take on the phone?
Aside from unlocking it, the next thing I did was paired it with Gray Key in order to conduct the extraction of the device.
By the way, did you have authority to conduct the search?
Yes, Detective Patton provided me with a signed search warrant, which I did see.
So you utilized Gray Key. Did you also then analyze it with Cellbrite?
Yes, after the extraction was conducted, it was downloaded, and then it was parsed or opened with Celebrate.
Did you utilize that hash value process to ensure that the data was the same?
Yes.
And is that something that you normally do as a digital forensic examiner when you process a phone?
Yes,
Did you create a UFED reader?
I did.
Now, did you also utilize Gray Key and
Okay, we don't need to know what all he utilized. Get to the data.
everything that was included in the 2019 report? Did that appear in the 2023 report?
Yes, it appeared.
Okay. And specifically
type
with respect to location data. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You talked a little bit about some of the location data points you can get from a phone.
Oops.
About the time period between 5:35 in the morning and 12:22 in the afternoon. Did you review the Cellbrite UFED report for location data for that time period?
Yes, I did.
Now, what does that look like when you look at it on a map? Or, I'm sorry, not on a map, on the UFED reader.
So it would appear on a map on the UFED reader. As I explained, there would be a table below a map. The table would have all of your information as far as the date, time, location data, longitude, latitude type of thing. And then there would be a map above it where you could then click on a data set and it would put a pin on that map and show you where the GPS fix for that device was.
On May 24th, 2019, between the time period of 5:35 and 12:22 that morning, what was the first time that phone indicated a location time point?
I don't recall that off the top of my head.
Bring the report.
If I may have a moment with counsel.
Bring the report.
If I can move it all, except there are 18 files contained within it, all except file 18, which when we get to that, I will make an offer at that time.
Is there an objection?
No.
I'm sorry, may I have a moment?
No, get your stuff together. Come on, man.
Objection to the other ones, Your Honor.
Thank you. States 131, except for file 18, admitted as full.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All that is just him going over how he gets to it. This is his actual report. I don't care about all the stuff leading up to how he gets his report. We all know that
I'm going to
part.
draw your attention to the screen behind you.
This is the report. This is the good stuff.
I'm opening file 1, titled Redacted Device Locations. If you can, sir, if you wouldn't mind getting up and going to the screen for a minute. What's being displayed on the screen, sir?
So this is a PDF version of an extraction report for location data.
Okay, I'm going to scroll up. On the top, it says Cellbrite with extraction report. Did you create this?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And it is 13 pages. I'm going to actually go to the page 13. What is the time that it began? So is the time backwards?
Yes, it looks like the earliest timestamp is at the bottom and the latest timestamp is at the top.
Now, between 5:35 a.m. and 12:22 a.m., what was the first time that this phone calculated or recorded location data?
That would have been this time 6:44 and 42 seconds a.m.
Okay, if you can you just go through, I know it's hard to see, so if you could please go through and just read the middle box that you...
6:44
It says
a.m.?
type, and then visited, precision, horizontal. What does this mean?
Are you asking about the horizontal?
Yes.
So that's the precision accuracy for each GPS fix. It generates a horizontal accuracy in meters, and that's basically what that means.
Okay, and where is the location data on the screen?
The location itself would be the longitude and latitude, which is this box here.
Now, you indicated before in your testimony that an individual wouldn't have to actively utilize the phone for it to...
These are the data points showing location for Fotis's phone.
Create one of these location data points. Can you
the first
tell,
Fotis
just
phone.
by looking at the Cellbrite extraction, whether or not the phone was used or interacted with when this data point was created?
As far as what created this data set, so what created this longitude and latitude marker, there are times where we're able to, but there are also times when we're not. So I'm not 100% on what created that data set. What's important to us is that it was created and is there.
Okay. And did you determine the location of this lat longitude?
I did.
Where is it?
That was 4 Jefferson Crossing in Farmington.
Now, between that 5:35 in the morning and 12:20 in the afternoon, did that lat longitude ever change?
Yes, it did.
Anything significant?
During that period of time, it remained in that area the entire time.
And by that area, you mean the area of Fort Jefferson Crossing?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you what's...
So Fotis's phone showed at the time that they checked from 5:30 whatever in the morning until 12:22 in the morning, it shows that his phone was at 4 Jefferson Crossing, which is his house/office. Now, we already know that because of the whole fake, or not fake, but it was a real call, but it was like a planned call from his friend in Greece and all of that. So we already know that it was there, that he left it there. According to the prosecution's theory, he left his phone there while he, not even according to prosecution's theory, like this is already, like Michelle's already confirmed this part. His phone was at the house while he was gone. So we know that his phone was there, but so that part is not surprising. It's just confirming what we know on that part.
Been marked in file 1, titled Map for Jeff. What does this show, sir?
So this would be an example of a Celebrite reader report with that table I discussed at the bottom, containing all the information related to the location hit. And then once you right-click it and go to location, it would then give you a pin where that GPS fix occurred.
Could you just read the bottom because it's very small?
Yes. So the bottom, we have our first few boxes, which are blank. It starts with the timestamp, which is the time that was recorded for the hit itself. Everything is recorded on the device in UTC, which is Coordinated Universal Time, and then it's converted into either Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. So you have the beginning of the hit, which is the original timestamp, and then the end of the recorded location, which is the end time, and the position would be the longitude and latitude of the device location.
So it looks like it began at 6:44:42 and ended at 6:45:05. Is that the same time that was on the written extraction that we just pulled up?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and it says UTC -4. Does that mean that this is the correct time, the Eastern Daylight Time?
That means it was converted to Eastern Daylight Time.
Okay, thank you. And all of the data points, which just going back to the device location point, it says 65 location data points, is that correct?
Yes.
And all of those were in that same location of 4 Jefferson Crossing?
Yes, they were all in that general area.
Between 5:35 and 12:22?
Correct.
Now, between that same time period of 5:35, you can have a seat, sir, I'm sorry, 5:35 and 12:22, did you look at the phone and extract data with respect to instant messages, or text messages, I should say?
Text messages.
Yes, messages were analyzed within that time frame.
Bring the
Now, we
text
talked
messages.
about SMS, iMessages, and third-party apps. With respect to solely SMS and iMessages, were there IMS or instant messages, text messages, SMS messages made during that 5:35 to 12:22 time period?
Yes, I observed message data on the phone between that period of time.
And now, a couple of questions actually for you before I open the next file, sir. Is there a way to determine whether or not the SMS and iMessages, not third-party apps, the SMS, iMessages were read or opened and viewed?
So read, no, I can't tell if somebody actually read it, but I am able to tell if the user clicked on that message and opened it to view it.
Does it also give you a time when that person opened it up and viewed it?
Depending on the settings on the device and depending on the application, yes, it could do that.
How are you able to do that, or how are you able to see that it was open and viewed?
There's a marker within Celebrite, so one of the things that it is able to allow us to view is whether or not there were read receipts, which is what that's called when you click on a message and open it, and it will tell us if the read receipts were on that device opened that message at that time.
Are you able to do that or see that read receipt in the third-party messages, WhatsApp and Facebook?
Again, it depends on the settings. At times, yes, but it depends on how that user has it set up.
Were you able to determine if some text messages and, SMS and iMessages were read and viewed during that 5:35 and 12:22 timeframe?
It did appear as though the read receipts were turned on. I don't believe I saw any read within that time frame though.
Okay, so none of his messages showed that they were read
Show you
during that
file
time,
2, marked SMS, Fotis messages.
which supports the state's theory.
So what are we looking at here, if you can? If you can get up, please, and go to the screen again. And if you can, it says instant messages, incoming. What does incoming mean?
That means it was a message that was sent to this device, so received by the device.
And what time was the first text message or instant message sent to the device?
So the first message within this time frame was at 7:18.
And is that reflected on the screen? If you could point to it.
Yes, it's.
Thank you. And the next category, I believe, says party. What does that mean?
The party would be the participants that were involved in it. So you can see who the message came from, and that the participants were the same person. So it shows it as as a group. And then also it'll have the email address for iMessages, because it does utilize the iCloud email address to send iMessage back and forth, as well as the phone number for the device owner as well.
So this instant message at 7:18 has the phone number and then Rania Minutis, is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
And it has a from receipt, that means it's from that person?
Yes.
And participants, Fotis or Fdulos at Yahoo, is that email address for the iCloud?
Yes.
And it also has the number here with Rania Minutis under the participants. Does it include the from and two individuals under the participants?
Yes.
And does this also give actually the content of the text message?
Yes, it does.
If you could just read that, please.
Sure, it states, call me, my client is ready to meet with you to see plans. I want to take him to the home you redid on Mountain Spring as well.
Was that text message read or opened and viewed between 5:35 and 12:22 that morning?
It doesn't appear to be that way on here, no.
And is that text message, I'm going to draw your attention actually to the next one. Is it SMS message?
Yes.
And that is from who?
That is from Haynes.
At what time?
That was on 5/24/2019 at 7:37 a.m.
And if you could read that as well?
It says, Hutch can come get me. Or can come get it, I apologize.
The line 3, please, SMS incoming at what time?
That's on 5/24/2019 at 8:36 a.m.
And from who?
That is from Thor Swanson.
And the description, please.
Good morning, Fotis. I hope you guys can make Garth's graduation party Sunday at 5 p.m. Would you mind if I parked our 3 extra cars in your circle to make room for the pizza truck? Let me know. Thanks.
Now, line 4, I want to ask you about instant message incoming at what time?
That is at 9:02 a.m. on 5/24/2019.
And this looks like it's from Rania again with that same message. Call me, my client is ready to meet with you. Is that a duplicate or a second message?
That appears to be a second message.
So that text message at 7:18 was reset at 9:02?
It appears that way, yes.
And I'm going to scroll down to the rest of them. Line 5, instant message at 10:12.
Yes.
Who is that from?
That is from Dennis Pueblo.
And the content?
It states, from your end, are you set for this weekend, or are you still working things out with Jennifer?
And line 6, please, SMS. A message at 13:26. What time is that?
What time is that?
What time is that?
13:26. Oh, 1:26 p.m.
Thank you. And who is that from and what is the content?
That is from Hutch Haynes, and the content is no phone, text me.
And that's from Hutch Haynes to Fotis Dulos, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the last 3 of these messages, sir, are duplicates, are they not? Let's look at 7, which is SMS incoming 13:33 from Hutch Haynes, and it says no phone, text me. Is that right?
It does say that, yes.
Why is this a duplicate and it has the word read underneath?
So it's not necessarily a duplicate, it's a read receipt. So this is indicating that this SMS message was clicked on and opened by a device user at this specific time at 13:33.
So nothing was
would
read
be 1:33 in the afternoon?
until 1:33.
So that text message was originally sent at 1:26 and it was read at 1:33. Is that how you read that?
It was opened at 1:33.
Or opened and viewed. Thank you. So going down to line 8, have the text message from Thor Swanson about the graduation party. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. When was that read?
The same concept that was opened and viewed at 1:34 p.m.
When was that text message originally sent, sir?
That message was originally sent at 8:36 a.m.
And it was opened and viewed at what time?
At 1:34 p.m.
And this last one, Hutch can come get it. When was that originally sent?
Again, Your Honor, I'm going to object as asked and answered. You could spend all day going through the ones and having them repeated. I'm just trying to suggest that this is not a good use of court time.
Well, the court understands the
calling the
offer
kettle
to be
black.
that there was a gap in time between when a message was sent and when it was. The court does not understand the testimony to be that it was read, that it was opened. So overruled.
So what time was that original message that was sent to the phone?
I'm sorry, can you go back to the which message?
It would be the Hutch can come get it. I'll draw your attention to line 2.
Okay, Hutch can come get it was at 7:37 a.m.
And at what point was it opened and viewed?
1:35 p.m.
Okay, so the text messages or instant messages and
He sat there yesterday, or whenever it was. We watched it yesterday, and tried to read the entire transcript of Pavel's direct examination and literally read the entire thing and go through it and just reiterate every single question and every single answer. And he's going to say that this is a waste of time? Sit down.
SMS messages that were sent, according to this, between the 7:18 message and the 10:12 message. None of them were opened and viewed until the earliest being 1:33 in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you create a screenshot or a recording to utilizing the Cellbrite program for these messages?
Yes, I did.
Opening file 2 and 3, label Fotis messages if you can, sir. I'm just going to pause it right there. If you could just explain what this is.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more of a comprehensive view than that PDF is able to give. It obviously has a lot more information, particularly up here on the top right. But to start, on the beginning left, I just labeled what each arrow stands for, so the timestamp of the message, of when the message was actually received, which is right here where it says timestamp, and the application showing that this was an iMessage. Then in red would be the red arrow indicating when that red receipt was generated, so when that message was opened. So for this particular iMessage, I know it wasn't available to be viewed on that last PDF, but it is on this. It shows that at 13:33, so at 1:33 p.m., that message was opened and viewed.
That is the call me, my client is ready to meet with you to see plans. I want to take him to the home you redid on Mountain Spring Road. Is that the 7 o'clock one or the 9 o'clock one?
That one is the one at 7:18 a.m.
And on the PDF version, you couldn't tell that had been opened and viewed, but you can on the Cellbrite extraction?
Yes, it didn't have a category for that on the PDF.
Okay. And at what time was that opened and viewed?
At 1:33 p.m.
Well, counsel, the court wants to make sure it understands counsel's question. The PDF states that read means device time message was opened, but counsel keeps saying viewed.
I apologize, Your Honor, I was using the witness's words, which is opened and viewed, as opposed to read. If I may just inquire and clarify with him?
Yes.
So it does say on the actual Cellbrite report we're looking at here, the word read. Do you see the arrow?
Well, so I'm going to object to this is not the actual Cellbrite report. This is some kind of, which I'm not objecting to, a summary chart, I think, that was created for the purposes of this trial. So I just would.
That's correct. I believe he created that's correct. To clarify, Your Honor, I will change the way I phrase it.
Well, right now is the time to take a break.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so basically all of this is, let me get the afternoon day pulled up. All of this is day 20 afternoon. Kind of reiterating what we knew about his phone. So he has the phone left in his office. All of those texts that he was getting, he didn't answer, or not even just answer. He didn't. None of them were opened until 1:33. So they're pointing out the fact that his data points showed that his phone was left at the office, and he was getting text messages that he did not open until 1:33. Now, this would be not as weird if it wasn't for the fact that, number one, their whole theory is that he was gone during that time and he left his phone there for an alibi. And number two, he's they have an idea about what time he got back, and then all of a sudden that's when the messages are opened, and none of the other, like, his phone is there, and he said, like, his story is that he was there, but yet nothing's he's not doing anything on his phone, but he's in his office. So it's just kind of, this all goes toward the prosecution's theory. So this is all kind of backing up what they've said so far.
Thank you.
Detective Clark, I want to bring you back. We were looking at, I believe, I'm going to go back to SMS and iMessages. File 2, office dates 131. If you take a look behind you, sir.
Excuse me, Madam Clerk. Madam Interpreter.
No.
The defendant cannot hear you.
I slowed it down.
So
the last time was boring and it didn't even matter.
Draw your
so I
attention
want to
again, just to clarify, line 7, 8, and 9. And in the middle column, as you said, there's the word read underneath each of them. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is this a actual extraction directly from the Cellbrite tool that you utilize when you examine the phone?
This is a PDF report from that extraction.
So you didn't enter the word read there, did you?
That's correct, I did not.
Okay, that came out of the Cellbrite extraction that report that you created?
Yes.
Okay. And when it indicates red, I believe you testified that you thought that meant opened and viewed. Why did you say that?
So the way the red receipt works, a message will be delivered to the device, and if a user clicks on that message, which enables it to be viewed, it will generate a red receipt once it's clicked on and has opened.
So the red receipt that is at line 7, 8, and 9 would indicate, for instance, just to clarify it, line 7, red would mean no phone, text me, was clicked on and opened and viewed, but you can't say if somebody actually stood there and read the words.
Correct.
Okay, is that why you use the terminology open and viewed?
Correct.
Okay, but Celebrate uses the term read.
Yes, because it's technically called a red receipt.
Okay, thank you. Now, I just want to go back to the video file that you created showing these messages. Now, sir, is this actually out of a Celebrate computer screen?
Well, I'm going to object to the vagueness of it. There's obviously, when you say there's stuff that's added, so I asked that there be some clarification.
Well, the objection, as the court understands it, is confusing. You can rephrase the question.
Absolutely. Actually, Detective Clark, can you just go up to the screen for me, please? Where did you get this image?
So the image, this entire image was from a Celebrate physical analyzer report, but this one is actually a UFED reader report.
Did you create or alter the image in any way?
I did not alter the original image. The parts I did add through the video editing software were these boxes that say timestamp and equals device time message was received, as well as the red box with red and device time message was opened, as well as this red box outlining the instant messages, and then these two arrows.
Now, the content of this upper right box here, did you put the red box around it?
Yes, I did.
And you put the red arrow here and the black arrow here?
Yes, that's correct.
And what does the black arrow signify?
The black arrow signifies the timestamp that the device of the device time that the message was received.
Okay. So, for instance, this indicates 5/24/2019 at 7:18 in a black arrow. And,
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
And then the red arrow, 5/24/2019 at 13:33. What does that indicate?
That is the device time of the red receipt, as we discussed.
But the content, the time and date, as well as the red receipt, that all came off of the PDF extraction we just looked at. Is that correct?
That PDF actually came from this, yes.
Okay. Thank you. You can have a seat, sir. I'm just going to play it through.
I put it at 1.25 and now it feels like it's so slow again. Gwen Bailey, thank you for the super chat.
I'm going to stop it there, sir, at 45 seconds. Did you write this page that's depicted on the screen?
Yes, I did.
Now, those were with respect to SMS and iMessages, sir. Did you also create a report with that encapsulates the WhatsApp messages and third-party messages in association with the SMS and iMessages?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to open what's been marked as file 4 and 5. And open file marked redacted WhatsApp messages. If you can, sorry, just I'm going to ask you again if you can please take a stand next to the screen and explain what we're looking at here at line 1.
So line 1 is the type of message that was sent. As we'd seen before, it basically breaks it down into instant and SMS messages. Instant messages generally indicate an application or an iMessage. Do you want me to continue on there?
If you can, but one question. This is also between the time period of 5:35 a.m. and 12:22 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so just to clarify the timestamp date, what is this first message from?
That first message, the timestamp for it was an incoming message on 5/24/2019 at 5:57:31 seconds a.m.
And the next column, please.
The next column, as we'd seen in the other slides, is the parties that were involved in the chat, so who was having that message.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Victoria.
the description, is this in another language, sir?
Yes, it appears to be.
Okay. And there's a line here that says source. What does that read?
The source for this particular message was WhatsApp.
Now, does this PDF report also include the instant messages and SMS messages that we saw in the previous PDF?
Yes, I believe it does.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go draw your attention down to line 5. And over here on the description column, we have attachment and empty file, source Facebook Messenger. Can you just explain what that means?
Yes, so based on this was a message through Facebook Messenger. It appears as though there was an attachment associated with this message. However, that attachment was no longer on the device for whatever reason, whether it was deleted by the user or the system purged it. So it's just showing us that there was a message, sent an incoming message to this device. However, that file is no longer accessible for us to view on the device.
And what time was that message sent?
That message was sent on 5/24/2019 at 7:52 and 15 seconds a.m.
Looking at this PDF report, is there any way to determine when the WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger messages were open and viewed or read, if you will?
No, there are no read receipts on this particular PDF for those.
And I'm just going to go down. We have some more from Facebook Messenger and text messages. Line 13. If you can, sir, over in this description box, I guess, it says missed voice call. How does that come in through text messages and instant messages?
So in this instance, it was using, again, that source profile is WhatsApp, which is a messaging service application. And you can generate video and voice calls within the WhatsApp program. So this was showing us that it went through as a message because it recognized this as a messaging service. However, it was a voice call created within this third-party application.
And is there a way to determine whether or not that was read or open and viewed?
No, there's not.
Okay. Going here to line 16, sir. If you can just read what time and date did that message come in?
This message was sent to the device on 5/24/2019 at 10:23 and 42 seconds a.m.
And where was it from?
This was a WhatsApp message.
And the individual phone number or address that it came from, which would be this column here.
Yes.
What does that say?
So the originating sender, the number 306-932-286545, and then it has the at s.whatsapp.net and a name, Andreas Tutsiazardis, and then the other participant, it has that listed again as the participant, as well as 1-860-478-8625 at s.whatsapp.net, labeled Fotis Dulos.
Is there any way to determine, looking at the Cellbrite PDF report, whether or not that message was open and viewed?
No.
But what about this area? I mean, we've seen the empty file attachment. What does this mean?
Well, so this file actually was sent with an attachment. So if the attachments were available on these empty files, it would look something similar to this, where you have the attachment itself and we're able to view what it was.
Are you able to determine if that was open and viewed and when that was?
Not based on this report, no.
Okay. And going down to line 17, just taking a look, there's this red yes over here. What does that mean?
So if you were to go all the way back to the top again, you can actually see that there is a header for it, and it's marked as that the item was deleted. So Cellbrite will tell you if it determines that an item has been deleted from the device, and that indicator is simply showing us that it was.
Does it give you any information about how that was deleted, whether it was, well, I'll stop there.
No, it could have been either through manual deletion, through user interaction, or it could have been a system process. I'm unable to tell based on that.
And by system processing, what do you mean?
So there are certain settings that can be created by the user or certain settings that are created by the manufacturer that cause data to be deleted from the device after a certain period of time or a certain period of data retention is reached. So the device will actually go in and start to remove that data itself without the user having to delete it.
Could you tell either way in this case?
In this case, no.
And just going through, sir, we get to this long one. And again, this is between 5:35 and 12:22. What time was this message sent?
This message was sent on 5/24/2019 at 12:14 and 33 seconds p.m. in the afternoon.
And I just want to draw your attention, this long participants. What does this tell you?
So this just shows that This is, again, a WhatsApp chat, and this shows us that this was a large group chat. So there were multiple participants involved in this conversation chain.
And the content or description, does it give you any information?
It does. It shows us what the source is, that the source was in WhatsApp.
Now, we talked about iMessages, SMS messages, and then third-party messages. What about call logs? Does Cellbrite report give you a description or the data points for how many calls were taken that time?
Yes, it does.
Particularly between 5:35 in the morning and 12:22 in the afternoon on 5/24, were there calls made to Fotis Dulos?
Yes.
I'm going to draw your attention to
Thank you, Bug Dugger.
file 6. And
Yeah, all those WhatsApp were all incoming, but none of them were outgoing. And even though you can't see if, for those you can't see if they were opened or not, they don't send red receipts. They did point out that all of the WhatsApp stuff that was coming in was all incoming and none of it was outgoing. So again, it supports the theory that he didn't actually have his phone.
well, first of all, sir, if you can just explain what we're looking at on the screen.
So this is, again, another view of that Cellbrite
Now we moved on to the
reader
calls.
program, that I mentioned. You can actually see the name of it right up here. And this is a call log from that Cellbrite reader program, as highlighted over here. So when I talked about how things get categorized, these are all the calls from the device categorized in the call log, enabling us to then view it. And then this area over here would show the numbers of the numeric sequence, and then there's some other indicators as well as the party involved, the timestamp, and the duration of the call, whether it was outgoing, incoming, or missed, and then the country code if it's able to determine that.
Now, the red box around that, did you put that in there?
Yes, I did.
With respect to any of the other content displayed on that screen, did you change any of it or alter it in any way?
The only other user-generated piece from this phone was this red dot, which was a manual tag that I had created.
Why did you create that red dot?
That was because it was the first outgoing call that I had observed within the time frame I was looking at.
Okay. All right. Sir, does this start earliest time at the bottom or at the top?
Earliest time is at the bottom.
So what is the first call that came in to Fotis Dulos' device on 5/24/2019 between 5:35 and 12:22?
The first call was at 7:16 a.m.
And where does it show that?
That's indicated right here.
And the column next to it reads all zeros. What does that mean?
That is the, again, there is a header for it, but I won't make you zoom back out. That's the duration of the call. So if the call were answered, it would have a duration, but if it's a missed call and it was not answered, there will be no duration listed under that category. It'll be all zeros.
And then the word missed, that means it's a missed call?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, the one right above it, that 306-9322-86545 number, if you could read that, please.
Yes, so it's from +9306932286545.
Thank you
And
for Baby Small.
again, that name, Andreas Tucciazardis.
What time did that call come in, sir?
That call came in on 5/24/2019 at 8:26 a.m.
Was that answered?
That appears to have been answered, yes. It has a 17-second duration, and as opposed to these missed calls, it actually is called an incoming call because the device recognizes it as answered.
Now, the 17 seconds, what time does it start counting?
The 17-second will generally start at the time that the call is answered.
So does that mean it was a 17-second phone call?
Yes.
Now, the one right above it, if you can, was that answered?
No, that is registered as a missed call with a 0-second duration.
And what time did that call come in?
That call came in at 9:02 a.m. on 5/24/2019.
From who?
That is from Hutch Haynes.
And the one right above it?
The one above that is from Renee Menudis. That came in on 5/24/2019 at 9:28 a.m. Has a 0-second duration and is also registered as a missed call.
And we saw that name and number in the text messages as well, is that correct?
I recall that, yes.
And as you go up, I'm not going to have you read every one, but you have this one from Mark Masiello. And what?
Okay, real quick. The only call out of all these, no messages, no calls, nothing were answered or opened or anything except for the one 17-second call from Andreas in Greece.
What time did that one call come in?
That came in on 5/24/2019 at 9:44 a.m.
Was that answered?
No.
Now, this one doesn't have a name next to it, the one right above it. What does that mean?
That means that the phone number wasn't saved as a contact in the device, and the device wasn't able to associate that number with any person.
Was that answered?
No.
And the two above it, Giannis, I'm guessing that's Tucciardis on both of those, even though it's cut off. Were those calls answered?
No, they were not.
Now, the one above it doesn't have a name in that column. Why is that?
Same concept as before. The name is not, the number is not associated with a name on the device. It wasn't saved, nor is the device able to recognize it as being associated with a name.
And Mania Menudis called again at 12:07, is that correct?
Yes, at 12:07 p.m., so in the afternoon.
And was that answered?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Now,
Michelle and
eventually,
Kit
Ms.
Mahini were in
Menudis
the office.
phone call was returned. At what time?
It appears as though that phone call was returned based on this at 1:19 p.m. on 5/24/2019.
And just one last thing that's different is down here at this line, if you could see the cursor, we have a WhatsApp. I guess, is that a phone call?
Yes, it appears to be an incoming phone call message from WhatsApp. The names are cut off, so I'm not able to see the participants, though I do recognize the bottom phone number as being Fotis Dulos' phone number, so he would have been the recipient of that incoming phone call.
And was that answered as well?
No, that was a missed call.
Okay. So between this 7:16 phone call and the 1:19 phone call that was returned to Ms. Menudis, there was only one phone call that was answered. And at what time was that again?
That was the phone call at 8:26 a.m. From this 306 number.
Andreas.
Andreas.
Now,
The
did
only
you
call.
look to see if there were any other communication with Andreas prior to this phone call?
I do recall seeing message communication between the two.
I'm gonna attention to.
All right, so
file
here's the
7 and 8.
previous conversations between Andreas and Fotis.
Okay, what are we looking at here, sir?
So this is a different view of a Celebrate conversation. So the view that you guys had seen before was broken down by table. It's also capable of generating it in a format that makes it a little more familiar to us as we're used to viewing them. So we can see messages as more of a cohesive whole. And that's what this is. This is a view of a message string from WhatsApp in its entirety.
And who is it from?
This was from that number 306-932-286-545, which belonged to Andreas Tucciardis.
By the way, is this in English?
It does not appear to be, no.
Okay. If you go up here, it says from and to. So who is actually sending this text message or WhatsApp message?
So this particular message was sent from the device owner, from the device itself, from Fotis Dulos' device to the person labeled as Andreas Tucciardis.
Okay. And what time was this message sent?
This message appears to have been sent on 5/23/2019 at 5:53 and 21 seconds.
Does it also indicate when it was read?
This particular one does, so it appears as though this message was delivered to its recipient, which would have been Andreas, on 5/24/2019 at 2:46 and 3 seconds Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, and that it was read on 5/24/2019 at 2:46 a.m. and 20 seconds, again converted to Eastern Daylight Time.
And just going down, just if the times, sorry, what time was this one at?
That message was sent on 5/23/2019 at 10:25 and 14 seconds p.m.
And what time was it delivered and read?
It was delivered on 5/24/2019 at 2:46 and 3 seconds a.m., and it was read on 5/24/2019 at 2:46 and 20 seconds a.m.
And this one, if you can, the date and time?
So this was sent on 5/23/2019 at 10:25 and 20 seconds p.m., delivered on 5/24/2019 at 2:46 and 3 seconds a.m., again Eastern Standard Time, and read 5/24/2019 at 2:46 and 20 seconds a.m.
And the response, sir, is what we saw on the other PDF, is that correct?
Yes, we did view this.
Thank you
on
for the
the
super chat.
And when was this sent?
This was sent to the device on 5/24/2019 at 10:23 and 42 seconds a.m.
I'm going to show you what's called on that file Greek to English translation. If you can, sir, if you could just read what's on the screen, as long as the time as well.
I'm sorry, you wanted the time as well?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is a message, a sent message from Fotis Dulos that says, call me tomorrow morning at mine and we'll talk. And that was sent at 5/23/2019 at 5:53 and 21 seconds.
And the next one?
Again, sent from the device owned by Fotis Dulos. It says 3:30 yours. That was sent on 5/23/2019 at 10:25 and 14 seconds p.m. And the final was sent again by Fotis Dulos. It says at the normal, sent on 5/23/2019, 10:25 and 26 seconds p.m.
So Fotis is sending Andreas WhatsApp messages telling him to call him tomorrow morning at 8:30 his time, which is 3:30 or whatever it said, Andreas time.
And again, we have that same, I guess, is this a meme? Would we call it a meme or a video? And what time?
Both are accurate. That's on 5/24/2019 at 10:23 and 42 seconds a.m.
Now, I just want to ask you, going back to the redacted chats, the phone number here, starting with 30, do you know what country code that is?
Yes, I do. It's Greece.
And we talked about UTC time, and you indicated the times at the bottom, going back to the Greek to English translation, where it says, for instance, here at 3:30 yours, 5/23/2019, 10:25, 14 p.m., UTC -4. What does the 10:25, 14 p.m. UTC -4 mean?
That means that the device inherently stores all of the date and time in UTC, and then based on where the device detects it is, or based on user interaction, it converts it to the time zone, a certain time zone. So this is the device being converted into Eastern Daylight Time, which is -4 from UTC.
So 3:30 yours, what time would it be in Greece if it was 3:30?
So if it's 3:30 in Greece, it would be 10:30 here. It's about a 7-hour difference.
Okay, what would it be with respect to this phone number? If I can, I'm going to actually draw your attention back to
10:30.
file. If I can. 6 missed calls. We have that same number, sir, here. And the phone call came at?
My conversion was incorrect. It would have been closer to 8:30.
Oh, okay, so I was right.
Could the
8:30.
witness please repeat his last name?
My conversion on the time was incorrect. The call came in at 8:26.
So if it's 8:26 in Eastern Standard Time, that would be what, 3:30 in Greece?
That's correct.
So I'm going to go back to...
So that's what time he told him to call. So that call was planned.
Actually.
He told him to call him at that time.
4 and 5, please. Do you remember that video or meme that we played that was sent to Fotis Dulos' device? Do you recall what time that was sent?
It's approximately 10 a.m.
Okay. Is this were you able to get the video down from the extraction?
Yes, this was the video that was in that attachment.
May I play?
All right, you have 2 choices. A, you can spend the rest of your life with your wife. Or B.
Was that the message that was sent to Fotis Dulos' device at around 10:20 on May 24th, 2019?
Yes, that's correct.
After the text message or WhatsApp message the night before indicating to make that phone call at 8:30
Not a
in the
great
morning?
video to send.
Yes, that's right.
Now, are there,
Given what's
you can have a seat, sir. Thank you. I want to ask you some questions about user interaction with the device, with the cell phone itself. I think you testified before lunch that the Cellbrite report can document certain activities that occur on the cell phone. Could you please explain a little bit more what you mean? What are some things that we can...
It was like a joke. A joke of like the guy is saying, when the lady is telling the guy, you have 2 choices. One is to spend the rest of your life with your wife, and B, and he automatically jumps to B. He doesn't even want to hear it because anything that B is, it would have to be better than spending the rest of your life with your wife. So he sent that, Andreas sent that video to him at 10:23 or whatever it was.
Learn from a Cellbrite report what is recorded on a Cellbrite report for user interaction.
So, are you asking about user interaction, like things that the user is creating intentionally, or things that the device is?
Well, I'll be more specific. Can you tell when the phone is turned on?
Yes, there is a database that has powering events.
And what about when you turn your phone from, I guess, portrait side to landscape? Does the phone record that?
Yes, there is a database that records that.
And are you able to parse that out through the Cellbrite report?
Yes, so what you're referring to are called device events, and those events are something that Cellbrite is able to parse and make viewable to the examiner.
Let me draw your attention to file 9. Did you create a report for the device events of Fotis Dulos' device between 5:25 or 5:35 in the morning to 12:22 in the morning on 5:24?
Yes.
Open file 9.
Yeah, look, I don't want to say, I don't know if Andreas knew. I mean, if my friend told me to, hey, call me at 8:30 in the morning, I would call them at 8:30 in the morning. I'm not going to assume it's because of, that they're planning on, me calling them to create an alibi. So I don't. We don't know that he knew anything. Obviously, with Andreas being Fotis' friend too, he's hearing Fotis' side of it, so he's automatically going to, hear his friend's side and assume that whatever he says is right. So he probably had negative feelings about Jennifer, as anybody would. I mean, my friends, I don't have warm and fuzzies for their exes. And the things that we send each other, if people saw them, might not be great. I think we won't even go to the stuff I send anyway. If anything were to ever actually happen, it would look really bad. But the thing is, it's I get that things are sent. Obviously, this was terrible timing, because if he knew that something was going on and he sent this, then it's horrible. But I don't just assume that he knew. I don't want to throw Andreas under the bus and assume that he knew anything. My friends and I send all kinds of stuff.
And what are we looking at here? If you can.
Yes, of course. So this is a device events report. Again, it's in table view, and it's just showing us that, again, numeric sequence of the time that the event happened, the event type. So we can see there are different event types in here: display, device lock status, Wi-Fi state. The value is what was happening to that event type at that time, and then we have our source information.
What time was the first event or user interaction on Fotis Dulos' device on May 24th, between that time frame?
The first device event I was able to see was at 6:44 and 12 seconds a.m.
What happened?
This was a display event, and it appears as though the display turned on.
What does that mean, the display turned on?
It could mean a variety of things. It could mean someone clicked on the device and actually turned it on. It could have received a notification and the device turned on, but it means that the display on the device actually activated and lit up.
And line 2, sir, indicates the start time of that event. What time was the start time?
For line 2?
Yes, please.
The start time for line 2 was 6:44 and 20 seconds a.m.
And the end time?
Was 6:47 a.m.
What does that mean?
So what it registers is how long the event type occurred for. So it appears on this that the display for the screen was on for approximately 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
And line 3, please, if you could explain what that reads.
Line 3 is our device lock status. So this is showing you that the event type was a device lock event, and that the event was that the device was unlocked.
And by unlocked, do you mean somebody entered a password?
For the iPhone Model XS, it would have been a password or a face recognition if the screen had a lock screen and password on it.
Do you know if this phone had a facial recognition or a lock screen?
I do know that the phone had a lock screen, as I observed that it had a lock screen.
And you actually entered the password on that phone as well when you did the extraction, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so when you entered the passcode that day to do the extraction, did that create a device event?
It would have, yes.
Okay, and it would have read similar to this, that line 3?
That's correct.
Now, line 4, what does that mean, sir?
So again, our event is the Wi-Fi state, and it's showing that this device connected to Wi-Fi.
Now, line 5 and 6 read orientation change. Could you just explain, first of all, the time and what that means?
Yeah, so our start time is 6:45 and 8 seconds a.m. With an end time of 6:45 and 12 seconds a.m. And the orientation change would be taking the device either vertically or horizontally and then moving it in the other direction. So if your phone is vertically and you turn it horizontally, that register that there was an orientation change and that it went to a landscape.
And that was between 6:46 and 36 and 6:46, 48. Events, is that right? So somebody would have to be manipulating the phone for that to happen, is that correct?
The device would have to be moved in order for that to happen.
Now, the next time, line 7, it has start time 7:01 and end time 7:03:16. What does display on off and display on mean?
So this is that display on the device turning on.
And that is 12 minutes after the phone was physically moved up and down, or orientation changed, I should say.
That appears to have happened about 15 minutes afterwards.
15 minutes? Okay. Now, I'm going to draw your attention down to 9,
got
line
door on the
9.
couch.
Was the device unlocked again?
Yes, it was.
At what time?
The device was unlocked again at 7:01 and 24 seconds a.m.
And the end time for that event?
The end time for the unlocked state was 7:03 and 16 seconds a.m.
Was the phone manipulated another time?
I see on line 6 would be another, I'm sorry, line 12 would be another user manipulation of the device.
And what time was line 12?
Line 12 was at 8:07 and 16 seconds a.m.
Okay. And by manipulation event, what do you mean? What happened?
So that's a device unlock. As I mentioned, the display is something that could happen without interaction, but a device unlock requires user interaction to occur.
And I'm going to draw your attention down to this 8:26, line 13. Now, we saw that 8:26 time frame before. Do you recall where?
No, I don't.
I'm actually going to minimize this.
Ugh, blowing the nose in the microphone. That's worse than the coughing.
Attention back to file 6.
Victoria X, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
What time was that answered call, sir?
So this is the phone call from Andreas, and it was at 8:26.
Thank you. Now,
So his phone is being unlocked and messed with.
file 9
His messages aren't being read or opened.
and
8:31 and 20 seconds a.m.
actually, I'm going to draw your attention to the one, line 16 right before that. What does that mean?
There was a one before that. It's a device unlock status at 8:31 and 8 seconds a.m. And again, the device was unlocked.
And you indicated the orientation change.
Yes.
Again, what?
Am I freezing for all of y'all? Some of you are saying I am, and some of you are saying I'm not. For some reason, it does it for some of you all at the same time, and then for some of you, it doesn't. Let me look. I'm not frozen on when I pull it up on my YouTube.
That would have to be a manipulation event.
Yes.
But the display on and off we see here at line 18 and 19, you can't say that that was a manipulation event.
That's correct.
9:03, sir, what happened at line 20 at 9:03?
So at 9:03 a.m., there is another unlock of the device.
And that would be a require manipulation?
Yes, that's correct.
What time did that end?
Some of y'all it's fine for, and some of you
That device
buffers.
event ended at 9:04 and 40 seconds.
And line 21, sir, is that a manipulation event?
It is at 9:03 and 4 seconds a.m. There's an orientation change to landscape.
And what time did that end?
That ended at 9:03 and 8 seconds.
Now, going through the rest of the time period, we have the display events, but what's line 27?
So At 9:20, line 27 at 10:34 and 4 seconds a.m., it shows that there was a camera state activity and that the camera state powered on. So something in the device called for the camera to activate. It will tell you that what caused that actually was a FaceTime, and that the camera that turned on was the front camera. Devices often have a front and rear camera. In this instance, the front camera is what turned on.
Was that in connection with a phone call, or can you tell?
I would say it's in connection with a FaceTime event.
And again, 28, is that the Wi-Fi connection?
Yes.
That would not be a manipulation event, or would it?
I would say no. If that device had been paired to that Wi-Fi, it could drop and reconnect on its own.
Now going through the rest of the events until this actually goes till 1 o'clock, are there any other manipulation or user interaction with the device until 12:58:44, the last one on this?
No.
Okay. Sir, is there a way to determine on the phone if the phone was moved during that 5:35 to 12:22 timeframe?
There are metrics that determine that, yes.
I'm going to draw attention to file 10, file labeled activity sensor data. Okay, what are we looking at here?
So this is activity sensor data. It's often related to Apple's health application, and it's giving you the time frame. It breaks down into hour increments.
Because it seems to do it to everybody all at once. Those of you who it's kicking out, are you what are y'all watching it on? Like Chrome or phone, or I'm curious because on mine, like I have it playing over here and it's not, it hasn't showed me freezing and it's not kicking me out at all. So I'm curious which app or whatever y'all are watching it on, because it's not doing it to me.
As the device traveling 44.4, and that is in meters.
That is in meters?
Yes.
Okay. And it says over here distance traveled steps. What does that mean?
So it'll also count your steps, similar to a pedometer or foot measurement device or walking measurement device, and that is actually listed down here.
Okay, most of you are phones or laptops. Most of you are phones. And a couple smart TVs. I don't know, because I'm watching it on, what is this called? With the little, with the little squiggly thing. It's like the, it's a computer, whatever it is, but it's not like the app. It's like a window thing or whatever. And it's not, I have it pulled up over here to see what y'all are seeing. And it is not doing it at all. Hello. Oh, wait, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Hello. Happy 2-month anniversary. 2-month anniversary. 2 months. Happy anniversary. Oh, goodness gracious. What did I do? I broke it. I broke the internet. There we go. Okay, here we go.
At the bottom where it says steps, it registered 63 steps.
Does it give you the time where and when exactly these steps were taken?
It does not, just that event was recorded by the device between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. Not a specific time.
And, well, I'll withdraw that. Thank you, sir. You can have a seat. So that was the activity between 5:35 and 12:22. Were you also asked to examine the phone for activity between 12:22 and 7:10 on 5/24/2019?
Yes, I was.
Particularly with respect to location data. Did
happy anniversary.
you determine that there were any data or GPS locations for the device during that time period?
Yes, I did.
And does that have to do with cell tower data or GPS data off the phone?
The data that I analyzed was specifically GPS fixed data.
Now, I'm going to draw your attention, but I'm not asking you to get up, but if you can just take a look at the screen behind you, this would be file 11, redacted Fotis locations file. And is this similar to what we saw before the...
I don't know why it's kicking people out and why it's doing it. YouTube is like half drunk most of the time, especially like the last couple months. It's been really, really bad. But it seems to be mostly the app. Like, so I don't know if there's a, if you have an update to try that. I know that there's been a lot of glitches with it, with anybody who's not doing the premium YouTube, and I have premium, so maybe that's why it never kicks my stuff out, but I'm not really sure. But it seems to be lately, like when it kicks y'all out, it kicks like a whole group of you out at once, and then some people are fine. Or it'll make me buffer. Like people tell me I'm buffering, and then other people are like, no, you're fine. So I don't know why.
lunch break, the PDF dictating the location data?
Yes.
And how many location data points were found between 12:22 and 7:10?
On this report, there are 138.
And what is the, well, what time does line 1 start at?
Line 1 starts at, on 5/24/2019 at 7:06 and 46 seconds p.m.
Safe to say it goes from 7:10 to 12:22. What's line 138?
Line 138 would be the earliest time in this report, and that is 12:23 and 50 seconds in the afternoon p.m.
Did you create a video that mapped out each of those location points?
Yes, I did.
Can you just explain to the jury how you created that?
Yes. So what I'm able to do within Celebrite is export the longitude, latitude, and date and time into a file format called a KML or KMZ format, and that is able to be ingested into a mapping program. I was trained by the FBI to use Google Earth Pro, and that's what I used. So I'm able to take those location data points, ingest them into the mapping program, and then use a video editing software to screen record the locations in what's known as a time lapse. So I used a program called Camtasia, which again I was trained by the FBI to use, and created the time lapse, which starts to move a time bar over time, and you'll be able to see the data points start to move in a direction or location as time moves on.
Did you utilize this document to create that report?
This document was created from the same data set that was used to create that report.
I'm going to play the video.
All right, this is like the helicopter ride again, where we all got dizzy and seasick. I'm going up to 1.5 for a minute because they're dragging on, and this is all stuff that we already know. It's just confirming it. Y'all, my
Detective Park, was that the video that you created utilizing?
Let me show you. My eyeball is fine. Look, it's getting better. The scratch is getting better. It's not watering anymore. It's just red. I'm not touching it. I'm just pulling it down a little bit every once in a while so that it'll keep my eyelid off of the scratch. I promise I'm not touching it. I promise. I'm okay.
Using those points?
Yes.
I'm actually just going to ask you a couple questions on it. If I can.
Thank you.
So the first pin is up here. What time does that first pin say?
That first pin shows 12:23 p.m., so 12:23 in the afternoon.
And what area is this?
That's the area for Jefferson Crossing.
Now, as you go through, I pause it at 12 seconds, these pins appear. Are they all appearing at the exact same time?
Some of them are. So as a device, if it is moving, you may see within a period of time, a period of a minute, which just does not record seconds on here, that the device may record multiple points in multiple locations. But then you also see that there is a time change as they move down towards the lower end of the Mountain Spring Road area on the map. And we're seeing 12:34, 1:34, 1:35, and 1:37 p.m.
Hey, happy birthday tomorrow.
And by Mountain Spring Road, is that what area we're looking at right now at 20 seconds?
That's correct.
And what is the time that is displayed at this point?
Currently, it's 14:26, which is 2:26 p.m.
And just to be clear, this is the device. You can't say who is holding it or moving it or anything during this time period.
That's correct.
It's just okay. And are you zooming in at this point?
Yes.
Now, some of these timeframes are the same. We have 14:25 here, 14:26, 14:25 up here. Is that similar to what you were talking about as the phone was moving, the data points?
Yes, it's within that 1 minute time span between 14:25 and 14:26. There were multiple recordings of GPS location data.
Now, I have one question, sir. Do you see it's up here at Jefferson Crossing at this point?
Yes.
What time is this?
That is 16:16, which is 4:16 p.m.
Okay, now we saw it back in the earlier part of the video, the pins go down towards Mountain Spring Road. We didn't see the pins come up, or did I miss it? Are there any location data traveling from Mountain Spring Road back up to Jefferson Crossing?
There does not appear to be.
Okay, well, why is that?
That could be for a multitude of reasons. It could be cellular connectivity. It could have happened from if the device goes into a low power mode, it may not have been able to generate the location data. Whatever was calling for that location data didn't call for it anymore. So there are a multitude of reasons why that could happen.
Thank you. Now, did you also look at call logs between that time period?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm gonna open file 12, called redacted call log. And what is the first call between 12:22 and that 7:10 time period?
The first call in this report is at 1:19 and 23 seconds p.m.
And I'm going to draw your attention to line 9, sir. Who did that phone call go to?
This was an outgoing call to 1-305-331-5232, Michelle Troconis.
What time did that call commence?
That call commenced at 1:53 and 56 seconds p.m.
Was it answered?
It indicates it was, yes.
How long was that phone call?
23 seconds.
So he called Michelle.
And line 5?
Line 5 was to the same phone number and same recipient, Michelle Troconis.
At what time?
That was at 3:16 and 6 seconds p.m.
For how long?
1 minute and 19 seconds.
Line 4?
That'd be the same recipient, Michelle Troconis, at 3:35 and 38 seconds p.m., 36 seconds in duration.
Line 3?
Line 3 was to phone number 1-860-716-7363, Pavel Gumini, at 4:49 p.m., 0-second duration, and it indicates it was not answered.
Your Honor, I think the witness misstated, said it was to that number when in fact it's from. He's reading it.
That is correct. It's from that number.
So that would be from Pavel Gomeni to Fotis Dulos' device at 4:49, and it was not answered. Is that right?
That's correct. It's an incoming phone call from Pavel Gomeni that was not answered.
Oh, okay. By the way, down here under network, this unknown network, United States, does that mean anything related to the phone call?
No, nothing that was pertinent at the time.
Okay. And last line 1. If you can.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
If you can, what was the last phone call?
The last phone call on this report was to Michelle Troconis at 5:16 and 15 seconds p.m. The duration was 46 seconds, or 47 seconds.
And that was answered?
Yes.
Now, that was between 12:22 and 7:10. Did you also examine?
Okay, all of these calls that they're going over, this part kind of gets boring because he's literally just reading the list that I've already done the video on, because a lot of this stuff was already on the arrest warrant. So remember that breakdown of the day that I did where it went through the calls that were made, and when they were driving back and forth, that I used like some of the stuff from the calls that they made, some of the stuff from the video surveillance that saw them going in and out of different driveways and that type of stuff. So a lot of this stuff is just confirming the stuff that we already know. So they're just entering stuff into evidence that we already knew because of the arrest warrant. So the call to Michelle from Fotis' phone at 1:53 We knew about that, and then there was a call at what was it, 3:36. This is all that time when she's kind of like when the cars are going back and forth from that workhouse. And remember, there was she came and she dropped off the Jeep, and then she left in the Suburban, and she came back in the Suburban, and then left in the Suburban again and was gone for an hour and a half, and then came back. And so all of that back and forth, and there were some calls in between, and the call that he made to her to come have lunch and all of that. So this is all stuff that's just, they're entering it into evidence because we know it, because I went over it because of the arrest warrant, but this is how they're entering it into evidence.
Location data between 7:10 and 8:30 for 524.
Yes, I believe I do.
Briefly, I'm going to open file 13, show you redacted device locations. Is this that same PDF we saw with respect to the locations for the other time periods?
Yes.
Did you take this document and place it in a video similar to what you created for the 12:22 to 5:10 time period?
That's correct.
Or 7:10 time period?
That's correct.
I'm going to draw your attention to the screen, sir, and play video.
Shreen's Abe's birthday's tomorrow. Shreen, when is yours? Happy birthday. We've got about an hour left of the stream. Stop sniffing in their microphone. I'd rather have the coughing back. I didn't mean it. Then I said that, and then they coughed in the. Move little Lucy. Trying to get Lucy out of the way.
Sir, did you also determine any text messages, IMS, SMS messages that were made from the Fotis Dulos device between 7:10 and 8:30 that night?
Yes.
Opening file 14. How many were there?
There appears to be 3.
If you can, sir, what is the latest one?
The latest is at 11 and 53 seconds p.m.
Do we have the content of that? Or what type of call or message was that?
That was a voice call, and the source was WhatsApp.
And then line 2, briefly, if you can.
Line 2 is an incoming message at 7:58 36 seconds p.m. From Stefan or Stephen Reich. Thanks for last night. It was good to see you guys.
What about this last line here? What does that mean?
It appears that there's an instant message being received from or sent from the device, but it doesn't have any data associated with it.
And what about call logs during that 7:10 to 8:30 time frame?
Yes.
Opening file 15. How many calls were made during that time period?
On this report, 4.
And what was the earliest call?
The earliest call was at 7:47 and 27 seconds p.m.
To who?
That went to Kent Mahwini and was 35 seconds in duration and has an answered indicator on it.
Now the 8:11 call, do you know who that is from?
So that is a WhatsApp call, and there is no name associated with the phone number that sent it.
And line 2, what time was the line 2 call?
The line 2 call was at 8:27 and 26 seconds p.m.
And was that to Lauren Almeida or from Lauren Almeida?
That was an outgoing call to Lauren Almeida. It appears to have been answered with a duration of 41 seconds.
And line 1? If you can
Line 1 was an outgoing call to 203-594-3502 at 8:29 and 55 seconds p.m. The duration was 10 minutes and 12 seconds, and it appears to have been answered.
Now, sir, did you also examine any communication that was done between Michelle Troconis and Fotis Dulos that day?
Here we go.
Yes.
And open file 16.
All right, let me slow it down to this.
And And I'll just start with 1, 2, and 3. What kind of communication is this?
1, 2, and 3 are labeled as outgoing phone calls.
And that would be outgoing from Fotis Dulos' device to the party identified on here as Michelle Troconis.
Correct.
What time was the first call?
The first call was at 1:53 and 56 seconds p.m.
Okay, that's the one they
And
already
the second
mentioned.
call?
3:16 and 6 seconds p.m.
They mentioned
And the
that
third
one.
call?
3:35 and 38 seconds p.m.
And these were all answered?
It appears so, yes. In the description, you can see the duration time listed above the source.
Well, I'm going to draw your attention to line 3, actually, at 3:35:38 p.m. How long was that phone call for?
36 seconds.
And the 3:16 one, line 2, how long was that phone call?
1 minute and 19 seconds.
Now, line 4, did we see this previously on the communication with Fotis Dulos? Or what does this read?
So this is an incoming instant message sent at 4:16 and 24 seconds p.m. From Michelle Troconis, and this appears to be a large WhatsApp group chat.
And the description?
The description says, now when naked, there's an emoji. It looks like a winking face with a tongue sticking out. And again, the source was WhatsApp.
And it was sent to all these people?
Correct.
And the last communication, please.
It said, hold on. It said, now I'm naked. Now.
And the description?
The description says, now when naked, there's an emoji. It looks like a winking face with a tongue sticking out. And again, the source was WhatsApp.
And it was sent to all these people?
Correct.
At 4:16. At 4:16, she sends a message to a big group chat on WhatsApp saying, now I'm naked, with a winky face emoji. Now, call me crazy. Call me crazy. I know I call her the messy mistress, but sending a group chat to your boyfriend and I need to know who the other people are in this group.
There's an emoji. It looks like a winking face with a.
It says on the CC now one naked because he says it fast, but it's. I've got it at normal speed, but it's now.
It says now one naked. There's an emoji. It looks like a winking face
Now I'm
with
naked.
a tongue sticking out. And again, the source was WhatsApp.
And it was sent to all these people?
Correct.
And the last communication, please.
Another outgoing call to Michelle Troconis at 5:16 and 15 seconds p.m. with a duration of 46 seconds or 47 seconds.
Did you also create a report detailing the communication between Fotis Dulos' device and Pavel Guomini?
Yes.
Opening file 17. File labeled redacted Fotis communication, Pavel.
The CC is saying now one naked. It sounds like he's saying now one naked or now I'm naked. I can't. I want to see the message.
How many communication events were there that day?
11.
And what time do they start?
Well, before we start there, Attorney Manning, if the state intends to run through all 11, we're going to take our afternoon recess.
Thank you.
and resume at 3:30. Please do not discuss the case.
Your Honor.
I want to hear. I want to see. I want to see the message. Bring the message. Either one is odd. I mean, a grown woman should not be sending anything about being naked to a group chat. But, I mean, look, I'm not trying to sound judgy. Like, you do you, boo. But it's, given the circumstances of what's going on, it's just a little bit odd.
Thank you.
Now, Detective Clark, when we let off prior to the break, I think I asked you if we had, or you had done a, let's see, did we view the communication that was done between Fotis Dulos and Pavel Gomini on May 24, 2019?
Yes.
And that would be file 17. And just briefly, sir, how many communication events occurred on that day?
11.
Okay, and when did the time start?
So the first event was at 2:12 and 18 seconds p.m.
And who was that from?
That is listed as an instant message from Pavel Gomini to Fotis Dulos.
And line 2, please.
Line 2 was at 2:12 and 18 seconds p.m.
And what does the description say for that text message, please?
The description for that message.
This is, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Correction coincides with MD's clothing, MD's clothing being cut off. To me, I think it's a hidden message confirmation. I think that's why I state message. So with Jennifer's clothes being cut off, if that could be a code for whoever the other alleged conspirators are to kind of update them, I guess is what you're saying. Like, I mean, I could see that. I can't think of like a normal reason why that conversation would be happening. So
It says Pride invoice paid.
Now, I'm going to draw your attention down here to line 4, where it says outgoing. What time was this?
This was an outgoing message at 2:13 and 3 seconds p.m.
From who to who?
This message is listed as from Fotis Dulos to Pavel Gomini.
Oh, the content of the message?
Okay, dash, when are you coming to the office, question mark.
Now, line 5, is that a repeat or duplicate?
It appears to be at the exact same time, so that appears to be a duplicate, yes.
Line 6, do we have a response to that text message?
There is an incoming message at 2:14 and 10 seconds p.m. From Pavel Gomini to Fotis Dulos that says end of the day.
And line 7?
Line 7 is an incoming instant message at 2:14 and 10 seconds p.m. from Pavel Gomini to Fotis Dulos that says 4:30.
And line 8, please.
Line 8 is an outgoing instant message at 2:24 and 39 seconds p.m. and it's from Fotis Dulos to Pavel Gomini. The content was okay dash made progress today, question mark.
Oh, 8 and 9, are those duplicates?
Yes, they appear to be there at the same time.
Line 10?
Line 10 is an incoming instant message. It is at 3:02 and 19 seconds p.m. from Pavel Gomini to Fotis Dulos, and the content is yes.
And line 11?
Line 11 is from the call log, so it would be a phone call incoming at 4:49 p.m., and that's from Pavel Gomini. It does not appear to be answered as the duration is 0 seconds.
Thank you. Now, did you get an opportunity to examine Fotis Dulos' second phone?
Yes.
Did that phone, the second phone, contain the time or data extracted from the time period of May 29th, 2019?
Yes, that device did.
Did that phone on May 29th, 2019 contain location data?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so this is Fotis' second phone.
Let's see, it's 133.
That's the big one, right?
So those messages back and forth. Remember, Powell is messaging Fotis. He's at that house that he's working on in New Canaan that day. So he's messaging him and he's telling him, Fotis asked him, he's messaging him about like an invoice or whatever. And Fotis is like, okay, when are you going to be here? Needing to know when he's going to be there. And he tells him, end of the day about 4:30. And then he asks him if he's making progress on that house or whatever. He says yes. And then he has the next communication. Pavel calls at 4:49 when he gets to the house, because remember, he calls Fotis doesn't answer, but he gets to the house and Fotis isn't there and his truck isn't there. So now he has to try to find his Tacoma. So those are, that goes along, the data is still following along with the theory that has been laid out by the state so far.
Oh, yes, please, thank you.
No connection.
Your Honor, line, or states 133, I would move into evidence. I believe that there's an objection.
States 133 admitted as full.
Shereen, thank you for the super chat.
Sir, I'm going to have you take a look, just briefly at the screen behind you, or in front of you.
Easier back there.
Do you recognize this document?
All right, this is Fotis'
Yes.
second phone.
What is it?
This is a location data report from an extraction of Fotis Dulos' second device.
For what day?
This was on 5/29/2019.
How many location data points were collected that day?
344.
Now, what did the location data points look like with respect to the second phone?
As far as their appearance in Celebrate Physical Analyzer, UFED reader?
Yes, please.
It would be the same as the others we viewed, so there'd be a data table at the bottom with a map that has a pinned location for the specific device or location we're looking at.
Actually, I'm gonna draw your attention, this is many pages. Drawing your attention to, starting at page 3, line 13.
Yes, so that's location data for 5/29/2019 at 1:43:21 p.m.
Let me ask you this, sir. At line 12, what is the time for the location data?
On line 12, the time for location data is 1:22 p.m.
And line 14.
2 p.m. and 13 seconds.
So is the time sequential?
Yes.
Over here on the far right column, the red yes, what does that mean?
The red yes would be indicated at the top in the header as data that was deleted.
Now, do you know how that data got deleted or marked as deleted?
No.
If you go through the rest of the location data, is through the time period, I may just have one moment, from 1:43:21 until line 25. Do you see that time period?
Line 95?
95, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And what is the time for that deletion?
That device time is 2:44 and 53 seconds p.m. for that
So-
location data.
The Celebrate report indicates that that time period has these markers that were deleted, sir. Do you know why that is written like that?
I do not. It could be either from a system process that deleted them in an automated fashion. It also could have been through user interaction, but just based on this alone, I'm not able to tell that.
Now, there's one that is not deleted here, line 96. And then the deletions pick up again. Do you know why that is?
No, I do not.
Now, did you examine the location data for May 29th, 2019 at around the 2:40 mark?
Yes, I believe I did.
If I can. And for the record, the screen to the jury is off. And I'm going to draw your attention to the screen in front of you, sir. Do you recognize what's depicted on that screen?
I don't see anything. I think that's still on.
Oh, that one's on. I know. It's still on. Two. If I may just have a moment.
Is this the car wash day? I can't remember.
If we can let me know when you're screen appears, please.
It's showing up with no signal, and there it is. Okay.
Okay. Do you recognize what's depicted on your screen?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It is a map that contains pins for a specific period of time on 5/29/2019.
What's that time frame?
The time frame is 2:41 p.m.
Did you create this report?
Yes, I did.
Where did you create it from?
This is from a UFED reader report.
Which UFED reader report?
From Fotis Dulos' second device, which was submission 14.
Is this a screenshot of what the Cellbrite UFED reader report actually looks like on your screen?
That's correct.
And the location data points here, are those all data points that are reflected in States 133?
Yes.
Or at least a time portion of States 133?
They were generated from the same data, yes.
And this is from the actual Cellbrite? You didn't enter any manipulation or mark anything on it?
No, this is from the Cellbrite UFED reader report.
State would offer it, Your Honor. This is file 18.
I'd like to voir dire.
Yes.
This one image was taken from this document that was just introduced as exhibit, a big thick exhibit. I just want to make sure. 133, is that correct?
Yes.
You know shoehorns.
But you were only asked to create one map from all of the data, correct?
This is just a map for a particular set of time, yes, in one location.
But the report doesn't have maps for all of the times that are in this report, does it?
This map does not, no.
So it doesn't show where Mr. Dulos' phone traveled before or after this one bit of time, correct?
And I would object. We're going to cross-examination. This is an offer of a specific time period. Anything before and after, counsel can cross on.
Object, it's incomplete and therefore misleading.
Well, the court is going to take the opportunity to indicate, even considering its previous ruling, the difference between voir dire and cross-examination. Voir dire is aimed at the integrity of the offer. Are there deletions, damage, omissions? If it's a physical item, damage, alterations, does it fairly and accurately show what this item looked like on a certain date or what the scene looked like in this photo on a certain date? Because Attorney Schoenhorn said there are omissions, the court is going to allow the voir dire because it goes to the integrity of the offer.
If I may just respond, Your Honor, briefly, just for the record, to be clear on the offer of proof, this is not a offer encapsulating the entire day. This is an offer encapsulating the time period of 2:41 on 5/29, and that is all that offer is, and that is all that image is for the offer, not the entire day.
So the court wants to understand whether Attorney Schoenhorn is claiming that even for the period of time captured in an offer, it is incomplete.
If the claim was at exactly 2:41, that's the point where that's what it's showing. That I'm not claiming that. What I'm claiming is putting in one screenshot from a document that traverses certainly looks like several hours at least, is misleading and therefore incomplete because it doesn't show where Mr. Dulos' phone was coming from or where it was going to, and therefore it presents a partial picture, and I don't have the ability, the way this witness does, to actually recreate the other images. I don't have that ability to do it. That's why I'm objecting.
Well, the integrity, therefore, of the offer is not impugned because it is what it purports to be.
If I may just...
So what the court is going to do is determine that the voir dire now has crossed over into cross-examination. Do you wish to ask other voir dire questions, Attorney Schoenhorn?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, you're so pretty.
If I may just address one thing for the record, Your Honor. This is an image out of a Cellbrite report that counsel has and can create. This is not something that has been created. So the idea that he is saying on the record that he can't recreate or encapsulate any other time period is just false. So I want to make that very clear that he has the exact same capabilities that we do when it comes to screenshots of a Cellbrite report. So
Well, the court now will just indicate that if this is an offer, it's been voir dire, no further voir dire questions. What's the number of the exhibit, please?
this would be file 18 out of states 131.
Say hi to your
File
friends.
18 out of states 131 admitted as full.
Thank you. Sir, if you could take a look at the screen behind you. If you could just explain to the jury what we're looking at here.
So this is a location map for, from the UFED Reader program. May I get up to the screen?
If you can, please, thank you.
There are the timestamps you can see, which are highlighted, which indicates I had clicked on them to get to this location. This location shows multiple data points with a timestamp here of 14:41, so 2:41 p.m., and that is in the area of 265 West Main Street in Avon, Connecticut.
Thank you, sir. And as you indicated, this is just from 2:41 at that date, correct?
Those, that time period is included in this, as well as some of the other time periods you can see up here, all the other time periods you can see up there.
And I just wanted to ask you a question about down here. You see these red X's?
Yes.
What do those mean?
Those indicate, this one doesn't say it in this type of report, but the X up here indicates that the data was deleted data.
And that's the same deletions. You can't say where that came from or if that was intentional or by the processing or.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You can have a seat. With respect to that same day, 5/29, in that same phone, did you create a report with respect to call logs for that phone?
I know.
Your Honor, I would move 132, and I don't believe there's any objection.
132 admitted as full.
It's somebody.
Briefly, sir, if you can, just take a look behind you.
The table.
What are we looking at?
They've been blowing their noses.
So this is a timeline report with currently call log data on it from 5/29/2019, with the first instance being at 8:08 and 20 seconds a.m.
And this is from Fotis Dulos' second phone, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And there was, can you please read line 1?
Yes, the first line is the sequential numeric value, and the type of data we're dealing with is an incoming call.
And who is that from?
Michelle Troconis.
Was it answered?
It does not appear to be, as there are all zeros where the duration would be.
Now I'm going to draw your attention to line 3. Line 2 and 3, are those both calls from and to Michelle Troconis, or what is listed as Michelle Troconis on the device?
Line 2 is an incoming call from, and line 3 is an outgoing call to what's listed as Michelle Troconis.
Now we also have these markings for on the deleted column, if you will. Can you answer for how those got marked deleted?
No, I cannot.
And is that the same? Could they be both either manual or process?
Yes.
You're a good girl. I don't know if you can see it.
Now, I'm going to draw your attention to line 17.
Oh, I can't.
Actually, we have 15 and 16 who have that
She's like
deleted
right here.
message, and then at 17, there is no deleted message on the column.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to referring to it as a deleted message. The witness testified that it doesn't mean it was deleted. The report indicates it as deleted.
Well,
Oh,
the
my gosh.
testimony so far has been that the device itself can delete. It can be through the activity of the operator of the device. You may just want to sharpen the question.
I will, Your Honor. Sir, with respect to line 17, under the deleted column, is there any marking?
No, there's not.
Now, one question with these columns that are marked as deleted, even if they are marked as deleted, does Cellbrite still able to retain or grab that data point?
Yes, it is.
Is that always the case?
No, it's not. As long as the data is still on the device, it would be able to, but there are ways that the system would completely remove the data, at which time we would not be able to recover it.
What are those ways that the system would completely remove the data?
So when data is deleted from a device, from a computer system, it's often marked as what's known as unallocated. So if you think about it as kind of a simple example, when a device saves data, it goes into a container and it kind of puts a lid on that container and says, I'm occupied, this data stays here and don't take it away, and that's a saved data. When something's marked for deletion, it opens that container and allows other data to then go into that container and save over it. But until that happens, or until a process called garbage collecting happens, which is when a device will occasionally purge some of that unallocated memory, that data still sits there. It's just not on the device that the user can see, but we are able to recover that data, and it would be marked as deleted because it is expected to be deleted, but hasn't quite left the memory of the system yet.
And again, you can't say either way or how that got marked as deleted.
For these specific things, no.
I have nothing further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh,
If I may just
Lord.
return this to-
Yes.
Here we go. I'm already annoyed. He hasn't even stood up yet. Look at Lucy staring at me. She loves her mama.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So as I understand it, you were told to provide reports for very specific, narrow periods of time, correct?
I generated reports for specific periods of time throughout a specific day. Yes.
And that was at the request of the state's attorney's office, correct?
That's correct.
You had more data over a longer period of time than that was provided, that you were asked to produce today, correct?
I produced the full UFED reader reports, as well as PDF reports and exhibits for certain sets of data from those UFED reports.
And just for I'm not sure you explained, unless I missed it, but just explain what UFED means, UFED.
Yeah, so UFED, which is one of the programs I use, it's a Celebrate extraction tool, and I utilize that to conduct either an extraction or a report.
You can put in very precise dates and times to present a report, to produce a report, correct?
Yes, you are able to put in specific timeframes within the physical analyzer program, which actually generates the UFED reader report, and that those specific timeframes would only create a report within that frame.
And they can also specify, as I think what happened here, a specific time. So if you're told, I only want May 24th from an exact time, whether it was 5:30 or 5:35, whatever, a.m., you can exclude what happened prior to that, correct?
You can create a report within a specific period of time, yes.
And the map that was just shown to you from 2:41 in the afternoon of May 29th in the second report, you created that using your UFED program?
The original image, yes, is of the UFED program, and that is a screenshot of the UFED program.
But you need the actual program in order to produce that kind of an image showing an exact time, correct?
You would need to view it in UFED Reader to be able to access that image I created.
But I take it, I noticed that, and I think the screen is still on, for many of these, there is there are specific, what I would call latitude and longitude GPS coordinates, correct?
Yes.
So just for example, just turning to, I'm just choosing this as a random page. If you look at the screen behind you, it's the bottom one here. This is number 210. The GPS coordinates are located in parentheses in each line, correct? I'll call each box, if you will, right?
Each box would have the longitude and latitude associated with the location.
And when it says location info, instead of it giving you an address, it's giving you the 41.757330. That's latitude?
That is longitude.
That's longitude. And the minus 72.802782 is latitude, correct?
Yes.
And these are the globe latitude, longitude that you used to find on when people actually had globes, right?
Yes, it would. If it had it on there, it would be on there.
So it's the same as it's been around for hundreds of years, right?
As far as I know, yes.
Only the program can take the latitude and longitude that you have, the UFED program, and put it into a map, correct?
As well as other programs, yes.
Were you told just to produce the one from that showed, I don't have the screen up right now, but the one that just showed Albany Avenue and Avon?
Are you referring to the last one?
Yeah, the last screen we just looked at.
Yes. I was asked to produce that.
You could have produced any from that entire day, right?
Any that were available on there, yes.
Did you look at the others? Would you have been able to see where the phone traveled during that day for the previous hours?
I do recall that there was a large period of time in the morning with no data. I don't recall where exactly the device was before that period of time.
And after, because I'm going to ask you about that, and you could also have produced maps that showed where that phone traveled after the one we just saw, correct?
If that data was available, yes.
Now, I do want to ask you about the fact that there seems to be an absence. I'm going to show you page 1 of Exhibit 133. And let me just jump ahead for a second. If I jump to lines, for an example, lines 32 and 33, 34, there is the latitude and longitude lines available on them, correct?
Correct.
But if we go just prior to that, we'll start on page 1, we have times of 3:49 in the morning. You see that?
Yes.
Then at the bottom, we have 11:34 in the morning.
Yes.
But if we go into the description, there's no location data at all on that page, correct?
That's correct.
And we go to the next page, same thing, right? We go down this column, there's no location data, is that right?
There's no longitude and latitude associated with that location data.
And then we go to the third page, and we're up to number 12. And again, starting at 13 is the first time that we have any GPS location data, correct?
Correct.
Can you explain that?
Yes. So, it would be easier for you to flip back and forth so I can show you. Do you mind if I stand up, sir?
Oh,
so I can point to this.
Oh, of course. Which page would you like me to turn to?
If you have one with both on it, that would be.
Yeah, we'll go to page 3. How's that?
That's perfect. So the source for the one that has recents is pulling from the recents category. I don't know the exact reason why the device generates a recents category. I do know that the iPhone does track location and will try to come up with different categories, like a favorites category of where a device goes to a lot in order to determine, okay, this is probably where you work. So we're going to give you the traffic on your way to work today. However, this data with the GPS location has a source of coming from the native locations in the device, which are our GPS fixes.
So as I understand it, if it says recents, this was an iPhone, correct?
Yes, it was.
And you can sit down. I'm not going to ask you any more about that. You're saying if a phone was at a place where it was often regularly there, it would say recent rather than generating GPS coordinates, correct?
I'm saying it could, yes. I'm not 100% familiar with why that recents was generated. As an examiner, I would see something that says recents and say, well, this doesn't offer me any investigative information as there's no longitude and latitude associated with it, and I would focus primarily on the ones with GPS fixes.
And if this phone actually had traveled to, let's say, Westport, Connecticut from Avon during this time, you would have no way of knowing that based on the information that's provided in this extraction report, correct? Or at least in this part of the extraction report that's now an exhibit, timeline. Right?
I don't understand the question, sir.
Yeah. If it only uses the term recents and there are no GPS coordinates, you're not able to say where this phone traveled during that time, correct?
I understand. It would be the same as if it had no data at all. Yes, you wouldn't be able to tell based on that.
And based on that, you would not be able to even generate one of those maps you were talking about.
Not without a longitude and latitude. I would not be able to put a pin on a map and say where the device was.
Now, you are aware that prior to the what was the time you were told to create this report?
The time frame for the report that you have in your hand?
Yes.
I believe that was the entire day of May 29th, 2019.
And when you were shown so starting in the morning, right? Early in the morning, right? If I show you page 1?
Yes, that starts at 3:49:56 a.m.
Could you indicate what was the activity at 3:49 in the morning that it was reported by the Celebrate report?
You're asking me what the first category says?
Yes.
The description is source recents.
And but what was going on with this phone? What was it doing?
I don't know.
It's not a call.
It does not appear to be a call, no.
Is it an email?
No.
Do you know what it is? It someone searching the phone?
It appears to be a system process, and again, I don't know what it's doing.
So that was going to be my other question. There are many items in here that just the that the cell phone, if it's on, just does things, right? Without anybody manipulating it, correct?
Yes, that'd be a system process. It does something that doesn't require user manipulation.
So, for example, if you have your phone set to, let's say, alert for thunderstorms or in your area, and it sends an alert to your phone, that's something that would be a system processing?
Well, you would need to generate the protocol that occurred that would let that happen. So a system process would be something like the device purging itself or tracking location data on its own, not something that was defined by a user necessarily.
Well, let me ask you this question. You're aware, for example, that you can have an app that will send you alerts. Let's say a commuter app, but the train is delayed, right?
Yes.
That would be generated by the app automatically, correct?
Yes, apps can generate things without user interaction.
Okay. You were asked questions about the phone. I'm showing you now Exhibit 132. You were asked questions about this document. And again, I just want to emphasize that the fact that it says deleted does not mean that the operator or owner of the phone deleted anything, correct?
It would be one of two things. It would be the system deleting it or somebody else deleting it, but I can't say which.
And there's nothing that's telling you which, correct?
Correct.
And this lists the, if it says 0000, that means a call was placed, but nobody answered, correct?
Yes, the duration being 0 would indicate that it was a call that was not answered.
And for example, if a call is to a person, would it record, in this case, number 3, 28 seconds, even if it went to voicemail?
Yes.
So that doesn't even mean there's actual communication going on between the people on either end of this phone, correct?
That would be impossible to say based on this report.
Okay. And same thing with the call to Andy Bowman for 13 seconds. You don't know if that just went to voicemail, right?
I do not.
Same thing to Eugene Riccio, 28 seconds. You don't know that?
Do not.
Now, I'm going to ask you though, here's a 19-minute and 56-second call. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
What's 611? Are you familiar with that phone number?
I'm not.
Is that a repair to the either your cell provider or to the the phone provider?
Objection, Your Honor. He indicated he does not know.
No. The indication is that he does not know what 611 is. All right. Sustained. And without knowing exactly what, you don't know anything about what was communicated if it's a longer period of time. Like, say, for example, number 10 to Mr. Pavel Gumieni shows that the call was 6 minutes and 2 seconds, right?
Yes.
There's no way to determine from this anyway where the individuals were when they were discussing that, right?
From this specific report, no.
Okay. Now, one of the UFED printouts that you can do from a Cellbrite report is something called activity, right?
Yes, there is an activity metric.
And the activity metric actually can show not just whether you talked about the phone, whether it was vertical or horizontal, like portrait versus landscape, held one way or the other, correct?
That was device event, sir.
Right, but there's also part of the same report is something called activity, right?
Yes, there is an activity report as well.
And that would include where the phone physically moved, isn't that right? From one place to another, right?
It has the activity report, if you're referring to the steps and movement in meters, would tell you how many meters the device calculated it moved and how many steps.
And so for those of us who grew up forgetting the metric system, a meter is approximately 3 feet, right?
A little shorter, but yes.
I'm just going to mark this for identification. I'm going to show this now. And while she's looking at that, so you had access to more than just the time frame of 5:30 onward for this device, the original device. We'll call it Dulos' first phone, correct?
Yes, I had access to more data than just the time frame you specified.
So you had actually data that would go back to at least midnight of May 24th, at 12:01 a.m. on the 24th, right?
Without seeing it, I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Right. And into May 23rd as well, the previous day?
If the data was stored on the device, it would have been available.
Objection.
Well, you need to authenticate it as a SPS.
Showing you Exhibit DD are these 2 pages from the earlier giant report that you had from Cellbrite of that same phone.
I don't know what this is from. It doesn't have the source file on it. I'm unable to make that determination based on the way this is formatted.
When you say the way it was formatted, do you know how this was sent to council?
No, I don't. All I know is there's no source file on this, so I can't authenticate which device it came from.
We're almost done. I'll take
Do you recall that there was data that preceded 5:30 a.m. on May 24th, 2019?
I don't recall if there was or not.
So looking at the data itself does not refresh your recollection that this is from the report from just the time before the one you generated for the state?
It is activity data for the time frame, but I can't determine whether or not it was from the device I examined or not, based on this specific report.
Well, is there going to be objection? Because then I'll have to just recall the witness when I have printed 100 pages.
What? Your Honor, he needs the source file to authenticate it. If he has a source file, I think that's where the witness is going. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but
I might have the first page, but not printed, Your Honor. So let
He's
me just.
so bratty. Like, what a brat. Bro is literally on the stand saying, I can't authenticate this because I don't have the source file. And he's like, so am I just going to have to recall you when I have 100 pages? Is there going to be an objection? What a brat. What a brat. I'm trying so hard to like not get annoyed with him.
Yeah.
But that ship done sailed. Is there going to be an objection? Coming from like
Actually, it
Captain
might be
objection.
easier to just bring this up than to plug it in to show you. So.
Good Lord of mercy.
And of course, I'll just indicate there was another officer did an extraction as well, correct?
I did the extractions for these devices. I don't know whether or not they were redone or not.
Okay. But you recognize this as being the...
Can you scroll that way?
Up?
No, the other way. Yes. Yes, so that's the path I was referring to.
Oh, okay, so it is the same.
That document, what you just showed me is from the original. Again,
Okay.
I don't know if that is from...
Well, if I represent it as from this lengthy document, then can you accept that, or we can go through it for those pages? But is there any objection in light of that?
Your Honor, I don't have any objection proceeding at this point, subject to counsel providing a completed copy with the source file at a later date, once he's able to print it out with that source file, including the fact that it came from, these pages came from that source file. I have no objection to continuing and letting it in based on that condition.
And I'll just note, this is a version that the state provided. The fact that there might have been a second version was not, necessarily something I anticipated as being an issue.
So what's the number, please?
Is there a number?
Oh, letter.
Letter.
Yes, sir, I'll let you read it.
DD.
DD admitted as full subject to essentially an entire printout of the source file.
At least up to that page. I'm not sure if the state needs to have.
I don't need the whole, maybe just up to that page.
Thank you.
So showing you what has now been marked Exhibit DD. I'll zoom in a little. No, that's wrong direction. And I just want to indicate, there were numbers on the left column, but the way this report was printed, it's in reverse chronology, correct?
Yes.
So that as the numbers go up, the time goes backwards, right?
Yes.
So I want to call your attention, first of all, to the first column. First of all, could you just explain? And again, this is not the full report, so you're familiar with this report, though, or this kind of report, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me just make it a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Could you explain for the jury what an activity report is?
So this type of report would generally associate with the health app. It tracks different metrics. Some of those are steps and distance. And as you can see here as well, there's flights climbed, so it'll show elevation changes as well.
And since we're going in reverse order, the first one, if we're to go across, it talks about that there were flights that were climbed. It mentions 2 floors, right? And we're looking at just number 62, right?
Yes, it says that.
And is the phone sensitive enough to know altitude from one flight to the next?
It will attempt to do that, yes.
And is it based on stairs movement or actually, you know, like if you're up in a plane, it's going to say you're at 20,000 feet?
It attempts to utilize both movement and elevation.
Okay. And then could you explain in the next column, it says last launch. What does that mean?
Last launch, it appears to be the last time that device activity occurred, which was 5/24/2019 at 5:11:22 p.m.
Well, the reason I'm asked is it looks like there's a start time and an end time in the same box. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
So the start time for this one, number 62, is 3:36:04, and the end time is 3:36:33. So it looks like, based on this, there was 29 seconds to go up to climb 2 floors, right?
That's what the device is indicating, yes.
So can you explain why the last launch would indicate it's at 5:11 p.m. instead of the 3:36? What's the distinction there?
Without viewing the entire data set, I wouldn't be able to make that determination. I would only be able to make an assumption.
Okay. Well, what does launch mean when you're doing a Cellbrite report in general? You can't necessarily indicate for this one, but what does last launch mean in your understanding of what the Cellbrite report is?
In digital forensics, the term launch would indicate that a program was activated.
Okay. And the time that it was activated, would that be the same or different?
It would be, well, this one indicates last launch. Again, without the full data set, I can't see whether or not the last time that program was launched was at 5:11 and 22 p.m., although it is also recording data before that as well.
Well, I noticed that there's steps listed in that below the second floor. It's the same time frame, almost, right? It says 3:35 and 3:39, so it encompasses what's in box 62. Now we're in box 63, correct?
It does encompass that, yes.
But I noticed the last launch is the same. So does that mean that the last time the program was used after this data was introduced, or am I just, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. Now, in this box, it talks about, it uses the number of steps, and it lists 166 meters, right? And I don't know if I can make this a little bit clearer by the light is. Make this a little brighter, maybe. All right, I'll just move it around a little bit this way. So we have 219 steps, 166.64 meters. This data, again, the steps are based on a health app movement, correct?
Yes, the device trying to determine when steps were taken.
And the 166.64 meters is also based on GPS coordinates that people are moving in one direction or another?
I'm not certain what measures that metric. As an examiner, we would look at that and determine that that's what the device had determined that it moved.
A person could be on a treadmill and still come up with 219 steps, right?
I believe that's possible.
And it could be move 166 meters, which is what, about 50 some odd yards. No, about 170 yards, right, more or less, on a treadmill, correct? Could be.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance of treadmill.
Well, the court is not clear as to whether this is just general education about the term or whether this is cross-examination based on the direct.
I'm just trying to understand when the report generates these figures, they're talking about movement of some sort, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to turn now to, in reverse order.
It's like pulling teeth with him.
We're going to go in reverse order and start at number 72 on this. At 1:01 and 30 seconds a.m. on May 24th, this device moved up, according to the data, a flight of stairs, correct?
I don't believe that's correct, no.
You do not believe that's correct?
No.
Okay. Could you explain then what this information means in number 72 then?
It appears as though the start time for that event was 12:03:03.
12:03 a.m. Again, the launch time you indicated meant when the last time the program was activated, right?
I stated that was an assumption, but I'm not certain what the last launch indicates. However, the start time for that event would be the time that event started.
Okay, so the next one is number 71, would be the next one chronologically, correct?
It appears to be, yes.
And that would be that at 4:13 a.m. and 40 seconds, the device moved 77 steps and 54.32 meters, right?
That's what this report is indicating, yes.
And that was at, I say that would be, again, Eastern Daylight Time, correct?
Correct.
And after that, number 70, it shows that this device moved 15 steps and another 7.7 meters between 4:24 a.m. and 4:52 a.m. Do you see that?
I do.
Are you able to determine just from these statistics why it would take almost 30 minutes to move 15 steps?
No, I'm not.
That's not what it says. That's, oh my God, everybody that's ever read a report knows that. Okay, it doesn't say it would take 30 minutes to move 15 steps. What it says is 15 steps were recorded during that 30-minute period. There could have been 15 steps within 15 seconds and then nothing else the rest of the time. It doesn't say anything about, I hate it when he does this, when he misrepresents information, because it makes, it boils my blood, because he's misrepresenting things and making it seem like it's something it's not. It doesn't say anything about why it took 30 minutes to move 15 steps. And actually, he probably needs to stop bringing attention to this, because all it's doing is showing that all of these movements are when Fotis took his phone and left it there and went and put it, or whatever, probably put it in the office, because if he climbed a flight of steps and then there were 77 steps and 54 meters and all this movement around 4:13 to 4:52 a.m. And then it was like 5:0, what was it? Hold on, let me see. 5:35 a.m. is when the Tacoma left 80 Mountain Spring Road. So all of this is just lining up with the fact that Fotis was up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever, moving around, getting his stuff situated, and then he went to the get the Tacoma from the workhouse and left the Tacoma is seen leaving 80 Mountain Spring Road at 5:35 a.m.
And then if I go down to number 69, the report indicates that the device went 63 steps and 44 meters at 6:57 a.m. and ended at 6:57 and 36 seconds, correct?
Yes, that's what that's number 69 is indicating.
And the one above that shows that then the next time it moved was at 1:19:13 in the afternoon of that day, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it shows at that point 427 steps and 266.95 meters that device traveled, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's at 6:57 a.m. If his phone is moving again at 6:57 a.m., it was around that same time when it was like within that same 10-minute period where Fotis's phone connect to the Wi-Fi and the orientation had changed to landscape and all of that. So at this time we can, like, that just verifies that his phone is, I mean, steps moving are not surprising because we already know that there was an orientation change at that time. His phone was left at the house, and Kent and Michelle were both there to in the office to take that phone call from Andreas during that time.
Now, are you able to indicate from there whether or not between the 7:15 time and the 1 in the afternoon time, that device did not move at all?
Are you referring to May 24th,
On
2019?
that date, yeah. Are you able to tell that just from this data?
You would be, if there was a recorded data within that period of time, you'd be able to see it if it was there.
Would the health app have to be activated for that to happen?
Yes, there would have to be, it would have to be activated.
And can an individual turn off a health app?
You can turn off the data to the health app, yes.
If your phone goes to sleep, will the health app also shut down?
Do you mean if it's powered off?
Powered off.
Yes, it wouldn't record powered off.
Will it also, if the phone is not used and it goes to sleep mode, would it?
Okay, there were, just for the record, him bringing this up is a moot point because there were, on that report, there is no indication that the phone was ever powered off or powered back on, and that would have shown up as a device event.
Also, stop recording the health app?
No, not necessarily. It would record if it was in rest mode.
This guy.
I just have a couple more questions and I'll be done. When it comes to the times for when there were phone calls, were those the times for the sender or the recipient?
It would depend. That's all from Fotis Dulos' device. So the time that would be recorded would be specific to his, either when his sent that call or when his received that call.
And you also testified that GPS data would perhaps stop showing if the battery ran low. Is that correct?
Yes, it's possible.
You indicated that on direct examination, right?
Yes, it's possible.
May I just have a moment? I have no further questions.
I can
Is
just
there
have one
redirect?
moment. One moment, Your Honor.
I don't know yet for sure if Kent's going to testify. It's been rumored that he will, and I sure hope he does.
Just a couple questions if I can. Now, the document counsel had you look at on the Elmo with the health app, that's the health app, correct, on a phone?
Yes, it's one of the applications that would use that data.
Right. And that was prior, some of those times were prior to 5:35 in the morning, correct?
There was a large span of times. I don't recall all of them.
Okay. And the time that the state asked you on direct was specific to 5:35 to 12:22 time period. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to just want to clarify on states 131. Well, I would if this worked. So let me just ask you, sir. Between 5:35 in the morning and 12:22 in the afternoon, did the phone move?
I don't recall whether or not it moved.
Okay, do you recall the report generated on the activity?
Yes.
And in that activity log, did it move a certain amount of meters or steps?
Without seeing the report, I wouldn't be able to answer that.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, the drive's not working, so I'll just ask you a couple more questions if I can. With the movement on the phone prior to 5:35, there was movement. After 12:22, there was movement on the phone, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and with respect to the user interaction data, I think that was what we talked about, the unlocking, the moving of the phone and everything. That could still happen even if the phone is in one place.
That's correct.
Okay, what about answering a phone call? That could happen if the phone is in one place.
Objection, this is just making statements, not even questions. It's leading and it's not a question.
Well, the avenue of the cross concerned movement as captured by the health app. The redirect concerns movement, and the court is not aware that counsel is asking about movement through the health app recordings. But the issue is movement of the phone. So the court is going to allow the redirecting. So overruled.
Thank you. Sir, if I can, I'll actually ask you a more pointed question. States 131, I was able to take a look at it. I'm going to open file 10, please.
Yeah, this is the last one. We're almost done for the day.
Now, this is what exactly is this again?
This is a much more data-filled report regarding the activity sensor data.
Does this have anything to do with the health app?
Yes, this is what the health app would use in order to gather data for these things.
And this encapsulates just the time period from 5:35 to 12:22, right?
Well, I'm going to object. It's from 6 to 7.
Well, the witness can either agree or disagree.
Well, it's a misstatement of the...
The witness can either agree
he's one to talk about
or disagree.
misstatements.
I believe
Sit
this
down,
is all the
George.
data that was captured between that period of time.
For the activity sensor, for the movement.
Correct.
Okay. Now, prior to that 5:35 time period, council showed you that report. That data indicates 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I think 5:11 was one of the time periods. That's on the health app as well.
That was the activity sensor data, yes.
Okay, but this is only after 5:35.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing else.
I have no question.
Thank you, Detective. You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's
Well, the
it.
court assumes that's the last witness for today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we stated this morning, there's no session tomorrow. Monday's a state holiday. So we plan to reconvene on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. As usual, please do not discuss the case, follow no media about the case, and have a safe weekend.
That's it. Check out the body language with them. I wonder what she's... I wonder how she thinks this is going. Oh, she gone. She gone. She just left. She didn't even say nothing. Oh, dang. I think she knows that her attorney is annoying, but here's the thing. Her attorney is annoying, and there's plenty of evidence against her for the smaller charges. I still have not seen any of the anything that I would say I believe is evidence for the conspiracy charges. So I'm curious about how she thinks it's going, for the simple fact that I think she probably knows that her attorney is annoying, but I think she also probably knows they haven't gotten into any evidence against her for some of that. So, interesting. The stuff we heard today from the cell phone stuff, a lot of that just kind of corroborates stuff that we already knew. And, kind of goes along with the defense's or the state's theory and some of the stuff that we've heard already. So, no big bombs dropped. I'll be interested. I would like to hear more about the text, the naked text. Jenny C., thank you so much. I have a lot to catch up on for this trial, but I'm so happy to see you live. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. True Crime Ranch. Is there a chase? Is there a chase? Is there? I don't see one. I don't see one. don't think so. If there is, I don't see it on the live anywhere. That's okay. All right, so no court tomorrow. I will try to stream on Tuesday. If I can't make it on Tuesday, then we'll pick it up on Wednesday. So that is the plan for now. Sound good? Well, Chad, thank you. Thanks for the weekends and love the chat family. It's been nice having our little weekends. It's been kind of fun. So it has been fun. We need to watch a live cam in Vegas for the Super Bowl. I'm supposed to be going to watch with my friend and her husband and their kids to watch the game. We'll see how long I make it. I get so tired so early now. So, we'll see. Usher's doing halftime though, right? That'll perk me up. Can we do a poll to see if minds are changing? Yes. Minds are changing. For which specific part? What do you want me to... Holly Mac, tell me what poll you want me to put and I'll put it up there. How's my eyeball? It's not quite as red. You can see like it's still red on the bottom part where she actually scratched me. But it's not watering anymore. It's not. Oh, see, it looks really bad right there. Okay, it looks really bad right there, actually. But it doesn't look so bad when I like this. It's just the lower part. It'll be fine. If not, you know, rock an eye patch. I know who you are. You're my neighbor. You are my neighbor. Who am I supporting, the 49ers or the Chiefs? Okay, well, let's be clear. I don't like either of them. However, there is not a part of me in my soul that will ever be able to cheer for the 49ers. Ever. I am a Falcons fan, and I am a Bengals fan. And I went to the NFC Championship when Falcons played the 49ers in, what was it, like 2013? And I went, and it was a great game. It was so close, but they beat us. And I sat in the stands and cried. And then got on MARTA, which is like it's kind of like the subway in Atlanta. And the 49ers fans that were there were so obnoxious and disrespectful. And I knew in that moment in my life I would never, ever, ever be able to cheer for the 49ers, ever. So I don't like Kansas City. And didn't Kansas City knock out the Bengals last year, right? Everything runs together. So I'm not a big fan of them either, but nothing in my soul could ever cheer for the 49ers. So I'm just there for Usher. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I'm cheering for Usher. I'm Team Usher. Peace up, A-Town down. That's who I am today. So everything else is just details. As long as Usher, I should have made an Usher jersey. Like, I'm just here for Usher. Usher can't be there. What? Please tell me you're lying. Go Dogs, go Braves. Yes, absolutely. Wait, please tell me you're lying. Because if so, I'm staying home. Team Usher, all the way. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I love having our weekend streams. It's been fun. He had a family emergency. Are you serious? I'm about to Google it. Usher Super Bowl. You're lying. Nope. Nope. He's going to be there. You had my heart pounding. Don't do this to this old lady. Not nice. Not nice. Now I can breathe again. Team Ursher, peace up. A-Town down. 2 hours ago, it said that he's going to be there, or that he's there. And it's got pictures of him. Even an hour ago, it's talking about him. So, he's there. All right, y'all. I won't block you, Jimmy, if you try to get my heart rate up like that again. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Y'all are the best. I will see you. If I don't see you on Tuesday, somebody's knocking on my door. If I don't see you on Tuesday, then I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
I gotta go. I can't stick around here forever.
Everybody was wonderful. Everybody behaved. Everybody's always so nice to me.
Just love your channel. And
okay, wait. All right, wait. These were just delivered to our leader. You got style, you've got grace. We love seeing your face. So I just got these from I'm assuming it's from y'all because y'all are the only ones who say my leader. They are beautiful. They are beautiful. Thank you so much. That's a very nice surprise. And they smell really good. They smell really good. What are you growling at? These aren't for you. Everything that comes, she thinks it's for her. That is very sweet. They are beautiful. So thank you so much. Okay, now we can go. I just had to interrupt the goodbye to come back, since I won't see y'all again until Tuesday or Wednesday to show these and say thank you. So, all right, we'll try this again. All right, I love y'all. Bye.
I gotta go. I can't stick around here forever.
Everybody was wonderful. Everybody behaved. Everybody's always so nice to me.
just love your channel. And
Goodbye, good people. Now, how the heck do I get out of here?